Como é que é, rapazes? Salve, salve, sejam todos bem-vindos, geral que tá colando na live. Bora para mais um dia de gameplay. Hoje temos PMCO, terceiro dia já. Infelizmente ontem não deu para estar aqui a acompanhar com vocês, acompanhar gameplay, puxar junto, apoiar também. Estava meio ocupado com algumas paradas, mas hoje sobrou um pouquinho de tempo. Vamos tentar colar aqui no máximo as 4 quedas. Se não der, a gente tenta umas 3. Tomara que os rapazes hoje estejam motivados, façam boa. Soube que simplesmente ontem jogou o time AOK e fez uma belíssima exibição. Deu pra ver a segunda queda, só o final. Não deu pra ver por completo. Caramba, tanta demora, mano. Lembrando mais uma vez, geral que tá colando na live, mano, não esqueçam, deixa aquele likezão, fortaleça o fortalecimento que é nóis. Tá vendo aqui a luz pra vocês.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another day here at the PMCO 2021 Spring Split for the African region. My name is James Banks, and I'm here with you, as always, joined by the incredible Maxman to guide you and excite you through the amazing action that is here being shown on the PUBG mobile scene. And honestly, Max, we've got further along on this journey. It has been a crazy journey. We've seen some of these top teams that we started to have high hopes for, maybe not do as well as we expected yesterday, but we saw some other teams rise on up to the occasion and deliver in a fantastic way.
Talking about teams that risen up to the occasion yesterday was mainly focused around undisputed African esports. Like they took 2 wins, the only team so far with double chicken dinners. On top of that, they also got a second position, almost getting 3 chicken dinners in one day. That alone is a huge achievement. So they stepped it up, but now they can relax. They got a day off. Now we're going to be looking into Group B and Group C and see what they can bring to the table, because we saw it on day 1 when I was actually casting with Blank, especially when there was...
Como é que é, Manuel? De boa, mano. Tá a falar que o microfone tava desligado. Tranquilo? Como é que você tá?
Can bring to the table today.
Go YNK, go BOPE, é isso aí, mano. Bora torcer aqui pelos
Miramar,
rapazes, dá aquela moral. Acho que hoje é o quarto dia, será?
We are for sure gonna have some great
Acho que
matches
sim,
here.
mano.
Blank. Sorry, there you go. Hey, Banks Blank, you know, it's very similar. It was bound to happen. No.
Right. I'm leaving you. You're solo commentating.
No.
Max, that's it. I'm turning off.
Bem, para já acho que é da sem Rangel, Sanok, Miramar e Rangel. Lembrando que já não terá o mapa de weekend. Segundo o que o Ghost me disse, Weekend agora foi considerado como um mapa não tão competitivo assim. Um mapa que não consegue reunir aquele ambiente que dá para considerar como se fosse um mapa idêntico ao de Miramar. Sanok arranjou por causa das suas safe que são muito troll. Tipo, fechar na água. Go your kill, é isso aí, mano. Hoje a gente tá a torcer pelos nossos meninos. Hoje a gente tá a torcer pelos nossos rapazes. Tanto o time BOPE, tanto o time YNK, tanto o time YNK. O time AOK jogou ontem. Não deu pra poder acompanhar, mas deu pra ver a queda de Sanok ali. Quase ainda que dava pra levar. Pegou o terceiro lugar, mano. Nada mal, né? Mas tava muito close aquela partida. Dava pra ter feito GG naquela. Mais uma vez, sejam todos bem-vindos, rapazes. Não esqueçam de deixar aquele likezão que já ajuda demais, fortalece o fortalecimento, dá aquela moral pra nós. Quem ainda não deixou o likezão, tá perdendo tempo, mano. Deixa ali, fortalece. Deixa só verificar aqui umas cenas.
But the kill points, they always come up huge, and INF yesterday, they proved it by not only managing to come second, but getting, what was it, 19 or 18 kill points in that game?
It's 19, yeah.
Isso agora é classificação. Antigamente era 20. O segundo tinha 15 pontos, já o terceiro 12. Mas agora mudou um pouquinho. Pelo visto assim também aumenta mais um pouquinho tipo o equilíbrio de cada partida, obrigando também cada time tentar dar o máximo. Pois é. A AOK fez uma grande partida ontem. E antes de ontem também. Antes de ontem as duas primeiras quedas estavam um pouquinho abaixo, né? Mas conseguiram compensar nas duas últimas, principalmente no mapa de Miramar, onde o Pennywise fez uma excelente partida, o Skull também, Mestre, jogaram bastante. Rapaz, até saíram, antes nem estavam no top 16, mas conseguiram compensar, e ontem também fizeram uma boa consistência em si. Agora temos que acompanhar agora aqui o time YNK, o time BOPE. Pelo menos tenta entrar aqui logo nesse top 15, se puder um top 10, tá bom. E o Killer também começou bem, mano. Tipo, começou bem as duas primeiras quedas que eu acompanhei antes de ontem, mantendo aquela consistência. Se bem que não estava a pegar muitos abates, mas estava a fazer aquela consistência sempre estando no top 5. Por vezes estava no top 3, mas faltava aquele abate. Tomara que hoje mude um pouquinho de estratégia. Só que as duas últimas deles foram péssimas. Uma caiu em 15º, se não tem erro, acho em 14º. Deixa lá ver agora como é que vai ser. Quantos pontos por cada kill? Mano, por cada kill é simplesmente um ponto. Como é que é, mano? Tranquilo, né? Not human. Então todos bem-vindos, rapaziada. Quero ver quem tá aí no chat, mano. Tem o Not human, tá o Marcos, tá o Manuel. Por enquanto vou deixar aqui a webcam só para trocar ideia com vocês. Quando tiver a partida desligo para também a gente poder acompanhar de boa sem interferência. Deixa eu ver que horas são. 18h13 nesse preciso momento. Big props to him. The Dragons are sat in a good place. We're going to look at the rest of the leaderboard as well and see where everyone's sat right now. Temos o C-Sport na 17ª posição. 10 teams in the bottom 16. E a YNK deixou o top 15. Tava no top 15, que agora para a 23ª. O time YNK, como não jogou ontem, não jogou, deixou um pouquinho por causa da contagem dos pontos dos times que jogaram ontem. Já o time BOPE também. Mas para hoje temos 4 quedas, tanto para YNK, YNK, os BOPE. É aquele momento de tentar focar. Pois é. Aquilo que eu estava a dizer, mano. Tipo, a YNK estava a jogar bem, mano, mantendo aquela consistência, mas vocês podem ver aí o abate. Não sei, acho que isso é abate, não tem. Acho que é mesmo abate. Então, simplesmente com 2 abates. Já por parte do time BOPE tem 7, o time YNK tem 10. BOPE, digamos que a maioria dos abates foram feitos pelo Man Robert, o rapaz que estava a jogar imenso. Pena que o time BOPE estava jogando com 3 players. Eu creio que se tivesse a jogar ainda com o esquadrão full, provavelmente o resultado seria outro. Mas a Márcia também estava a jogar bastante.
Also, they
Deixa
still
lá ver
lack
agora
in
como é
things
que
in
vai
terms
ser a
of
prestação.
scouting. I think that's the one thing that's missing out for them so far. They're almost there, 37 points. They could make it over there.
Temos uma menina. Não sei se é a única menina nesse torneio.
And at the end of the day, they
Mas
might
pra
end
já
up
tá
in the
como?
bottom
Dando
20 or
bala.
even worse than that. So Saint in a pretty scary position, but they still got 4 games to play, so we can expect them to potentially catch up.
Chegou pra mim um vídeo da PMCO de Bangladesh, isso na Índia, mano. Porra, teve um player a jogar de wall hack, mas ele é muito, tá vendo que é muito ruim, nem sequer desfalsar ele sabia, mano.
And I love the point you touched on, right, with the scouting, because one thing we saw them do when they were taking these engagements, they had what I like to call the wolf pack.
Opa, acho que agora sim, acho que quando chega essa animação, essa publicidade, Banks Sport, Max,
everything going on around them, and yeah, they got punished for it. They got hurt in a bad way. But we'll have to wait and see how they can do when it comes to their playtime once again. And we have to see what's going to go down this first map because, you know, we spoke about this so many times. Not only consistency, it's the word we do love. It's the word you'll hear us use all the time. Hands up to that. But it's the review side of things. What have you learned from the games you've played so far? The more you go further throughout the tournament, the more I see the top teams.
Agora vai começar então, aliás, a primeira queda.
But the more experienced, right, are the ones that know that changing up the
Deixa eu ver
game
aqui rapidinho, deixa eu
and
entrar aqui
moving
na minha
forward in a
conta do
different way is
jogo.
going to help you get the
Deixa eu
chicken
ver
it's going to help you get the extra points and push yourself further up the rankings.
And this is for a lot of these teams and players, potentially their very first esport experience. Like they did still have a few tournaments in the African region that a few of these players and teams did qualify and play into. We did see a few teams do pretty good. But for a lot of these teams, it's still their first time and they're still learning. They're like, okay, how can I become the better version of our own team? And
Mano, eu gostei muito da narração desses dois castles. Primeiro, se bem que é a primeira partida, né? São as primeiras quedas e eles, por exemplo, ainda não tinham os nomes dos players, não conheciam na íntegra os times. Parece que esses dois já chegaram já com aquele estudo já feito, já aprofundaram um pouquinho, porra. Tava da hora.
So if you just come into this as a mentality, I want to learn as much as possible, you will be potentially able to make it really far in the future. Maybe not this season, but you've got many seasons still ahead for not only this year, but the years to come.
And you got to remember, right? The PMCO would not be happening for regions like this without the Renault 5G, and that is born to win. The coming Oppo Renault 5G is the official designated.
Pelo visto já teve a primeira queda. Pelo visto já teve a primeira queda e eles não estão a transmitir. Já teve a primeira queda, eu estava vendo que os meninos eles já estão em partida, praticamente. Eles já estão em partida aqui, tá vendo eles?
Some of these teams definitely when they're getting the points they need.
Infelizmente a gente vai ter que acompanhar eles aqui a falarem um monte. Porque ele já está em partida faz tempo, já 16 minutos.
But it's all about resetting and standing strong and coming back into the next games and saying no matter what happens, win or lose, we come back, we stick to the plan, we adapt where needed, but we have to be full focus. And again, I'm going to keep touching on this point as well. For us guys, we can sit and play some games. You just jump in the lobby, you lose the game, play again, re-queue, no problem.
Caramba, é foda, mano. Aí trollou,
These professional players is you take a loss, you know what's on the line, you know this is a golden opportunity for you guys. You need to bring your absolute A game, but to stay focused on 4 games back to back like this is a lot. You start to get tired, you start to maybe lose a little bit of focus in terms of, oh, we're not playing the same way we're supposed to do. Then you get the worries to sink in. You need to stay strong. You need to stay confident. That's the real difference between some of the up-and-coming players and the true professionals out there.
Tem atraso de 20 minutos. Ok.
We've seen it across many different versions.
Entendi agora, mano. Entendi agora. Tudo bom, Zap? Como é que é? Tranquilo, irmão? Agora sim, porra. Tá a pensar que eles atrasaram, é isso aí que eu tava já a dizer, mano. Agora sim já levantamos voo, sobrevoando a região de Primorsky. A direção da rota termina próximo de Severn e Stauber. É isso aí mesmo. Agora vamos acompanhar aqui com vocês. Deixa eu ver como é que tá o áudio. Não pode estar também muito abaixo, nem tão acima, senão fica imperceptível.
as Southern North Island is going to be a little bit too far out of reach. So we did
Então bora, vai dar nós.
for that kind of drop location in Group A and Group C. I don't know if too many teams in these groups have seen the intention and maybe.
Bem, para já o time YNK fazendo a meio Macau, né? Eles normalmente caem aqui nesses prédios de Georgia Paul. Os primeiros esse close container. Já o time Yorkiller normalmente cai na região de Georgia Paul, mas nos prédios do fundo. Algumas vezes ele caía em Milta, quando havia o time da UAE, eles mudavam de cal. Agora não sei como é que vai ser, provavelmente eles já viram que se calhar o time da UAE não joga hoje, mudará a cal. Só que a Alpha Pack nesse momento vai para a direção de Georgia Paul. O time BOPE vai pegar no Severo.
So they are going to be taking some big fights early on.
Opa, temos dois esquadrões na região de Georgia Paul. E essa safe? Até que a safe está de boa, não está assim tão distante. Caralho, ainda bem que não perdeu-se ninguém, E ainda bem. Já pegamos uma killzinha. O Breno dá para ser levantado. O Breno dá para ser levantado. Só que esse Rust Boy pode complicar um pouquinho a situação. Ele já tá de Carnovio, aliás, de Scarelli. Quase, mano. Já imaginei se ele acertava essa smoke. Vai pegar agora pra cá. Derruba. Não viu. Mano, nesse caso, o Rust Boy vai ter que recuar. Porque eu creio que dificilmente seus companheiros virão. Será que vão mesmo? Agora sim, tá a ver. O maluco tá metendo louco mesmo. O Lê já tá a fazer aquela mira cruzada. Já pegou um pouquinho mais por fora do hospital. Isso que eu tô a dizer, tipo, essa trocação pra já não compensa para o time da Aphelion. Não, é a Alpha Pack. Essa trocação não compensa para eles. Eles vão ter que recuar. O Rusty Boy, infelizmente, vai ter que ficar solo. Provavelmente, se ele conseguir derrubar um, é ponto para ele. Mas de qualquer forma, ele já tá a contar que ele já tá. Já é menos um, tá a ver? Isso que tá a fazer, vai ter que comer mesmo junto.
Yeah, they're pushing it.
Recuou.
He moves around and jumps out. He barely makes it away. That is so clutch.
Ele tava da KM, teria um pouquinho de vantagem, só que agora vai ser engolido. Boa. Tem que rushar junto. Não salto. Boa. Caralho. Mano, esse salto é muito perigoso que o Jair fez. Ainda bem que ele tava de SMG, nesse caso um mouse. Se fosse com um fuzil de assalto qualquer poderia dar ruim, mas o bem que já pegamos umas 2 kills agora. Mano, 2 killzinhos. É aquilo que eu tava a dizer, tipo, não tinha como os companheiros deles voltarem pra fazer aquela trocação. Simplesmente era só mais um membro perdido.
Overall, now they picked up the entire loot, and Hospital is actually good enough because it's a really one big build, like one
até a região
big
toda
building.
dos prédios
If you
por
want to
trás para
loot up for an
poder
entire
lutear.
team and not really want to stay away from each other too heavily, Hospital is indeed a viable option. We're talking about, potentially sticking together. That is indeed what is also going to be happening for C Esports as they dropped in Yasnaya Polyana. I cannot see on the map currently if there's another team over to the east, but even if there is, I brought this up yesterday talking about Yasnaya. You can have 2 or 3 teams in Yasnaya Polyana without even having to break up a fight because it's such a big compound. You got big cross sections, especially that big road going from the east over to the west. You don't really have to get involved, and it is.
Yorkiller agora mudou de cal, tá caindo aqui nessa região de Yasnaya. Já vem com Saifa, Fantasy, Tecnos, Zip Dog. Zip Dog tá substituindo uma Doda. Mas a base é sempre o Saifa e o, aliás, é o Fantasy, o Saifa e o Tecnos. Normalmente quem cai aqui nessa região de Posting é o time da G4K.
Just came to my mind. We haven't seen them just yet, but Slime 4KT are in this lobby. Another team that we've been told to look out for. Remember their manager? Remember, he's been helping us out from start to finish, giving us some extra notes on the African region and helping us work things out. And here they are, just as we're talking about them. Team 14 at the moment. Storm, the in-game leader, the superhero of the team. I just have flashbacks to his 1v4 attempt.
Por KT. O que foi? Desconectou, tá a configurar o hacker.
And we spoke about this with other teams being something that can be missing This is exactly what we need, right? Someone for them
Mano,
to
a Thiago
be
ele tá sem
at
colete,
least able to
sério?
look further forward, see what's going on. Sometimes he
Caramba.
waits for the rest of the team to pull up, and he'll be able to maybe take the first engagement, distract the team, and you see the rest of the team fire on into it. So we're expecting these guys to be able to jump up the leaderboard today in some way if possible. Maybe they can get a good start here on a wrangle. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
Look, we're not going to lie, Banks. Like, Storm for Slime does almost everything. He does scouting, he does IGLing, he does the fragging power, he survives to get like positioning points. He's doing fantastic. I would like to see the rest of the team maybe assist that a little bit more and just play around him a little bit more. That'll be great overall, but I still think that they are a really strong and talented team.
Time
So
da
they can
YNK.
definitely bring along to the table. But we were seeing
O
actually.
time da YNK também tá
Grace
fazendo
and
uma
George
belíssima
probably gonna go to the other
partida.
crates and
Principalmente
Novo
o
onto the
Nazaboy e o
island, and that's going to
Mohamed.
be Team UNK. That's where they played
Estão
already.
jogando
And I'm
muito bem,
super
mano.
happy to see this team again, especially because Nazaboy and Mohamed,
Pois
I
é,
think
ó.
they have great synergistical plays. Like they play together extremely well, and I think
Yeah,
you
tá
put them
sendo
in a
dos
fight where
players
they
mais
play together
consistentes
off
do
of each
time.
other. I think that's where they
Fazendo
play
sempre
their
belíssimas
best. And you
exibições,
can show
pegando
that and
bons
represent
abates,
that
boas
simply off the fact that they
trocações,
snatched the game away from
resolvendo
KHK
no
Esports
clutch também.
on day 2 on Sanhok. And that was super well executed because they had the disadvantage of the terrain. They had to push through an open field. They only had like 2 rocks and a tree to play off of, and yet they were able to overcome the competition and take a win. So I think that here Team UNK, they showed a really good first showing. We only saw 4 games of them so far. And I think this is going to be a proving ground for them to prove that that was just not a one-time
Hoje
thing.
o
They
man,
can do
que
that
é
on a regular
isso?
basis.
Ei,
Now,
tá na Disney. Vou
Yonkers
bater aí
looking for
como?
the shots in the open, and unfortunately they find a few players of Alpha Pack.
Se alguém tiver de hack e
Actually,
não usar, eles conseguem perceber. Mano, calma aí. Se ele... Eu não sei como é que tá ali nessa situação, mas pelo que eu saiba, noutros torneios, não sei se é na PMGS ou uma PMPL, para além de você ter o jogo, eles mandam você baixar um aplicativo que vai monitorar tudo que tá acontecendo no teu telefone. Porra, mano, essa aqui, dá pra gente pegar essa skillzinha. Boa. É isso aí que eu tava dizendo.
Brilliant stuff from him, and their teammates are not going to be able to get there in time.
Finaliza, já tá com umas 3 killzinhas agora. Não entendi como é que o time da Alpha Pack foi bater ali.
4 kills already here for Yonkers, and this is a great early start for these guys.
Mano, pra já é um bom começo, porra. 4 killzinhas já.
Like there was the smoke coming out in a really strong position, but you just saw, well, there's only one position where they
mas lembrando pra vocês que, tipo, no jogo de Bangladesh, na PMCO de Bangladesh, um jogador tava a utilizar o AOK.
Team BBC, they're going to be now
só um instante aqui, já volto.
over to the east of the island of Erangel. They're going to be exchanging a few shots. They are pretty split away from each other, so it'll make it pretty hard, but here they are facing up against the boys of Fallen 5. And they are also pretty split away from each other, but Law is completely split away from the entirety of his team. So if he gets knocked away, you can count him as almost an instant casualty because it'll be so hard for BBC to get Law back up on his feet to pull off that res, as he's just going to be completely separated. So Fallen 5, they don't really have to take this fight really aggressively. All they have to do is potentially find a few knocks left, right, and center and get them an advantage through that kind of way. As Falcon, although he's also in a really similar position, if he gets knocked away by Law or another player of BBC, he's going to be also in a world of trouble. So I don't think these teams are both prepared for this fight. They just went into the compound completely unaware, and they just got involved in a fight they were not fully ready for. And you can see that purely based off their position, as now everyone's just on a standoff, waiting for potentially that opening frag or knockdown to come on through and maybe make a decision based off of that. But that is turning in a little bit of a messy fight in Milta.
Ooh, pretty much centered up slightly towards the south here. Okay, military base is mainly inside of it. We know how the next circle should go. It should go back up more towards the north afterwards. Unless we get something really wild, you know, it can happen every once in a while. But overall, I think teams won't be too upset with this. BOPE have already started to make their way down from Severny. They're just crossing over from Rozhok. And actually, they won't have too many teams that close to them in this northern side. You're going to see a bit of contention more over towards the eastern side for the moment. But it's BBC versus F5. We spoke about it a little bit ago, and they're straight into the fight. When the cross started to happen, when it started to get opened up, it was BBC that have been able to strike. And you see Falcon in the distance, well, he's flying like a Falcon away from the action, away from the fight, and he's not going to be gunned down. But BBC are going to walk away with a clean early 2 kills. And this is a good start for them, but it's how they play it out from here, because they're just outside of Milta for now.
Oh, lordy lord. I was seeing the rotation from Fallen 5, and they just picked up the con, like, we're just going to rotate right through Milta. Unfortunately, that's something that doesn't happen too often, at least not in a good way. You mostly want to try and wrap around the compound to make sure you're not going to get shut down, and you saw it. He died on a bike, going straight through the middle road in the middle of Milta, making it really easy for BBC. But there we go. I'm so happy. I mentioned this yesterday, and I saw no one play Pachinki Hill, and yet I think it is one of the best positions in the game, purely in terms of scouting, and here is getting used not only by one team, but by two teams, and one of those teams being Slime 4KT. They're on top of their Storm, going to go for the long-distance shots, trying to find a few suppressing shots with the DP28, but they got to contest that position away with team number 8, and that's going to be Pain AF, that I have yet to see this team really perform extremely well, so hopefully today is going to be their glorious day of success, where they can get a few good points, but overall, I'm happy to see some teams finally use this position. It wasn't a case for Group A and Group C, but Group B and Group D, they're making me happy. They're making me proud. Like, hell yeah, Pachinki Hill's finally being used by these teams.
Like you mentioned, right, it's a good ground to see what's going on around you. As we'll see from PN, they only have 3 players up here. So they also need to be cautious. When you're at a disadvantage like that, and you know you're potentially going up against the full squad, it is a scary moment. YNK seem to be doing more damage, though, as I look towards the kill feed. They found one of the BOPE players who was, when we did last see them, at least trying to work their way down south. Yonkers may need to be careful, though, because Yumi's up here. He spotted some of them out. Oh, that's it. That's wrong. That's your killing, isn't it? There we go. Your killer is there up there. That was the other team we went to. There you go. I thought the YNK and YK, well, you know, my eyesight, we talk about it. You said about your eyesight, Max. Maybe it's just mine.
I think we all need something at the end to help us out. But these two teams also moved. Oh, damn. Okay,
Pronto, clã, estamos de volta. Deixa lá ver. Pá, pra já ainda não foi nenhum esquadrão.
I'll keep you guys updated on my situation there. But overall, these two teams, they both moved away from and they both encountered each other.
Já aí será o MVP. Tomara, mano. Tomara.
But otherwise, this is going to be
qualquer do jogador, mano, angolano, moçambicano, já é bom pra nós, mano, já é bom pra comunidade.
What they're doing is great, in a sense, they're setting teams and their teammates forward, get another position under control, and send the entire team to follow up. I think that is a really good call, because if you want to be stuck in a fight at this early stage, I don't particularly
já, eu não acompanhei os 2 últimos jogos de ontem pra ver quem eram os players que mais estavam a bater, mano, mas das vezes que eu tava acompanhando, tava o Nazaboy, o Pennywise também a fazer boas exibições.
That's what it's about. For now, there is a time.
Caralho, o Saifan caiu, man.
It's when that time to strike is going to be.
Mano, ficou com de HP, é.
Mano,
me parece que o Fantasy tá lagado, não sei porquê. Até que nós vamos ter que ficar mais pra dar cover. O Eli ainda não tem informação, mano. Ele também é um jogador muito skillado, é.
It's not going to be an issue for them to walk on in, so they can keep your killer is really busy for now. This sneaky play from Tech might catch him by surprise. He takes a few shots, but he's getting gunned down from both sides. It's Yui that comes in to save his teammate, and that's the team play.
O Fantasy vai ter que colocar o pé agora, não compensa essa trocação. O Fantasy e o Zip.
Another kill, which means your killer is completely outnumbered and outgunned in this one.
That was a phenomenal play from CE Sports at the end. The timing was a little bit off. If they timed it a little bit better in terms of communication, that could have been even better.
Yeah,
and avoided them potentially having one of their players get knocked away. But they just took 2 angles, pushed around it, making sure they can't cover these 2 angles at the same time, as he was a one-man army, and then overcome him easily in a 1v2. So I think that at the end, the execution
o rapaz é diferenciado.
At a PMCO level, that is the bare minimum. So
eu tava vendo aqui algumas gameplay dele. Eita, olha lá, Márcia, agora é trocação entre angolanos, time BOPE e time YNK. Mano, o cameraman tipo tá na Disney, a bota na trocação, mas velho.
But I think the existence also needs something in a similar fashion for them to be able to perform a little bit better. But they're going to be contested by Gun. And Gun, on day 1.
Mas graças a Deus, olha, eu posso dizer que nós estamos sendo bem representados. Eu vejo que temos mesmo bom jogador. E esse tipo de torneios, né, e eventos vai aumentar bastante na sua experiência. E aí eu vejo que, porra, temos bons jogadores, temos jogadores que são mesmo bem dedicados, estás a ver, procuram evoluir cada vez mais.
Exact same position as to where they were on day 1, but here teams have been able to learn and improve over time. As actually one of the players of the side of Gun going to get knocked away from a distance, but the res has easily come on through. But now we still have 15 teams alive, and one squad got wiped away. So things are still going to get pretty dicey as we're slowly going to make our way into stage 4. But here, Magicians holding on to the Lighthouse. They're all in the same position. Lighthouse as a 4-man team is not great to hold on to. You want to have a 2-2 split usually, but they're still going to hold on to it as a full squad. Which
até não estou a ver muitos players a utilizarem SLR nesses mapas, já? Tipo de Rangel. Olha esse drop que caiu no telhado.
Ooh, that's a nice crate to get.
Nada mal, uma HEzinha retira.
Oh,
Can you even get there?
no. No!
I think
That's so
you can
unlucky.
jump. You can jump
Can
and
you
get
make
it
it?
if by like jumping around normally. But I
Calma
don't
aí,
think
deixa eu
they
ver
got
como é
it,
que
unfortunately.
tá.
That's a
Ah, o
tough one.
Fantasy já era.
Oh, no. The worst start. I
Fantasy
was
já
like,
era.
oh,
Zip
that's
Dog agora vai ter que
circle.
jogar solo. Mano, olha essa safe aí.
Wow, I said, what did I say? It could get crazy. And we've
É
now ended
provável
up with
que
what
a
I'd say
safe
probably
feche pro
like
time da
60%
MGC,
water. Would you agree?
mas tá em fechar pra água, creio
Man,
que
we
não.
never
Não
have these
pode.
weird circles on such a regular basis.
Porra, senão
And
seria
then
uma
Banks
safe
just
bastante
comes
troll.
in into PMCO. I'm gonna mess it all up.
É a
Now we
primeira
have to wipe
vez que eu
the
vejo uma
circles
safe
overall.
assim,
You know
é.
what? Hey, it makes for
Nesses
entertaining
torneios.
content. I'm not gonna complain, but teams are surely gonna complain into this because you don't have many positions to hold on to. This is gonna be real tricky.
There is not enough
Turma, quem tá na
to
live, mano,
currently
deixa aquele
fit
likezão pra
15
fortalecer,
teams.
que é
This means if
nóis.
you're one of the ones that are late to the party and getting here, you are going to
Opa, o time
struggle
YNK já tá
to
fazendo a
fight
rotação,
for
já vai
some
pegando um
control here.
cantinho da
Now, maybe you
safe.
try and
Pois
gatekeep
é,
a
o time
bit on
BOPE
the
também
edge,
tem
but
que se
how long do you
movimentar
want to do
logo
that?
já.
For right now,
Fantasy já era,
Greece
só o
is
Zip
looking
Dog
at
agora
that.
pra tentar
That is
fazer aqui a play.
YNK that are sat on the bridge. That could be really beneficial for those guys.
Ixi, mano, provavelmente teremos trocação à frente do time da PEN e o time YNK.
But if they can deal with everyone from the sides, there may be an
O Luiz
opportunity.
ainda nem sequer tá
You
safe.
spoke about the magicians.
Caramba,
Their
olha a vida que ele
position
ficou.
here could actually be something they can really fight from at a lot of long distance, but they need to hit some key shots.
I was saying that I would like to see them split away, but because of how the circle went, actually, this just stay there. You know what? I take it back. This is actually great, purely based off where the circle went. So you know what? Big heads up to them. Really lucky on that one. But now, we brought this up a few times. Being gifted a circle is a really good thing, but also being able to use it is a big also part of the work. So hopefully they're not going to get too overzealous and confident because they have the better position in the circle. Hopefully they're still going to be rather respectful of teams around them.
Mano, será que o time YNK caiu? Tô a ver que já caiu um time agora.
The bridge, but Team UNK still up as a full squad. They got one player already forward, can potentially find a few
Ixi, a
shots from a
WM
distance.
cantando.
Talking about a few shots off the distance, I see one player of Gun has got the Orm, and in the circle, it will still be pretty impactful because, especially against Team UNK, like, if you hit those shots from a range, Team UNK are going to be really in a world of trouble to make it over.
Mano, até não tá entendendo muito porque que o time da MGS tá dando tanto a cara pro time 6. Só tá a perder colete e capa gastando recursos. No final, mesmo que derrube, não vai finalizar.
Start to get a bit more dicey here. They would start to struggle and really have to fight for a lot of control here.
Ali já acaba de ser
This is already
spotado.
happening, right? Smoke's being deployed, cover need to be found, just trying to fight your way up the hill. And see, they had a good start to this. They ended up getting 3 team kills so far already.
Os rapazes estão dando a vida, é a quarta zona segura. 45 players, 14 times ainda. Não sei se o time BOPE chegou de pegar a safe, porque mais close estava o time YNK, provavelmente pode atrapalhar essa rotação deles também. Não sei se eles conseguiram pegar, a não ser que peguem através daquelas casinhas que ficam próximo à ponte à direita.
I just seem to bring the crazy circles. Sorry to all the African esports regions, because day one was pretty normal, wasn't it, in your eyes, Max? And then it came to me, and I brought all the chaos. I think it started with a military-based game.
I know, I was always called the curse caster, so at least I can just go away with a title and then give it over
Parece
to you.
que tá todo mundo só nesse
I think that's the
esquipinho.
best trade in human history overall, so I'm cool with this position. But we got 2 teams here in a really tricky position. That's the Razor Crew and CE Sports. They are slowly going to make it to the meat and potatoes of this
BOPE
game
tá
because
muito
they are
close
going to
na
have
beiradinha, só que eles separaram, mano. Tá a ver a Márcia ali
downhill.
distante, só o Marro vê
Unfortunately,
bastante
those kind of
close com o
positions,
time
not
YNK.
many teams can actually make it out. So I think
É aquela safe que eu tava a dizer, dificilmente fecharia pra água. Agora tanto o time da YNK vai ter uma tarefa muito complicada, tanto o time da MGC. Já o time da 4-5, mano, esquece. O time da 4-5 aí já era. Essa rotação é muito complicada.
But here you have it. That's going to be already off the bat. C Sports taking some big shots.
The big fight has to come in now because they've got to get this fight for control. See, they need to be careful in this. A lot of players are already slightly lower, and they also need to be careful.
Eita porra!
Also looking at it is the
HEzinha, aquela se não mata as quadras, mata duo.
making it work, making it rain.
Caramba, já tá minha agora acaba de cair pra HE.
Back up now. This is a beautiful.
Mano, o que que o time 14 tá a fazer? Já derrubou 2, ele não avança por quê pra comer?
Slime boys being on down there, they were taking some shots at sea, but they're also having some shots taken back at them. I'm seeing Gun
Talvez tenham notado que tipo alguns times estão um pouquinho com aquele receio de avançar. Mas o bem que a safe vai fazer o trabalho, porque não vai ter como rilar. Derrubou 2, tinha 3 caídos lá, se eu não tava em erro, mano. Tinha negativa à direita, dava pra comer. Provavelmente.
Oh, great shot coming out from Impulse.
Acho que o Breno já foi levantado, o Zoe também.
Taking some too big shot, and actually from the compound down south, he's going to be taken down, and they have to move out a race recruiter there. Another player's out of the equation, down to 2, and
Rise like, how do I drive this thing? I couldn't make it through, but
there's too many teams in this position, and it's just a matter of time, I believe, until he gets taken down, unless he can maybe barely survive, but they know where he is. He's going to get contested right into the hands of Gun, and that is going to be the end of race.
Vai ser nocado pela explosão, provavelmente. Já chegou quase morto.
But this is tricky. He's clenching himself right now. Close up the car for a bit of safety in there. Plaza's just gonna, yep, oh, okay, you're already gone. No problem.
Quinta zona segura 12 times, 29 players. Opa, Zip Dog ainda tá vivo.
It happens anyway. And look, the teams
are
dwindling.
The
players are dying slowly but surely. Magicians have tried to move on out, but I think they've been
acaba de ser
completely finished off here.
Daí consegue pegar mais uma
Vortex is the
eliminação.
last one to go down. It's not going to be ideal for them. We're down to 10 teams. The madness is happening everywhere across the map. And if you've got yourself on
O time
top
BOPE caiu na 10ª. Caramba, só caíram os dois ao mesmo tempo. Agora não sei quem ficou em 12º e em 11º entre o time da AOK e o time BOPE.
And they're looking, they're hungry to take the fight wherever possible here. NASA Boy doing his best to fight it out there, but he's going to be downed so quickly.
O Mohamed aí também para tentar fazer a bola.
Back him up a little bit. Smokes are going to be deployed
Ai,
because
caralho.
there's little ground for these guys to hide behind. But now you're going to be forced out.
Eu não entendi como é que o Ghost conseguiu chegar pra safe.
Mohamed hoping he can get the revive
off.
You
can't res.
No, you got not enough time. Oh, that's so
Caralho, sentou na HE. Não tinha como ser levantado. A única opção era ele puxar pra cima.
There you go, no problem at all.
A não ser que ele tentou levantar pra não dar kill. Mas ainda tem um player da YNK, o Ghost, tá vivo ainda.
5 kills for the team already, and you're in a top 10 position for now. If you can just hold on a little bit.
Já o time da BBC, pai, colou nesse skip, não vai sair. Tá o Valak, perdeu o Suki, perdeu o Laui.
This is great for Beast. Like, if he's able to just pick up those cars, put him in actually a really good makeshift position, like a makeshift compound, and just put them in the south, he's almost there, just a few meters away, I believe, like maybe 5-10 meters. He could create a compound and get completely uncontested because no one is coming from
até que a safe tá pra nós,
já.
O time não consegue pegar a safe de boa. Tem por aí uns 4 times fora da safe, ou mesmo distante, vão ter que se matar nesse momento para poder chegar à zona.
Now, the meat and potato is going to be once more is going to be over to the east. That's where all the teams are trying their best to move out, but Gun, they already got the cars ready to go to send it into the circle, but they know they can't go too early because they have no buildings to hold on to inside the circle. They need to eliminate as many teams as possible before going for that push.
Para derrubar mais um.
This push is certainly not going to be easy. Slim, nicely put up on top of the building, able to spray him on down.
Roubaram aquele dele
as well. He's looking for any players that
o time da YNK também.
Before he makes his push on. He wants to pick up as many kills as possible because they've still got 4 players alive, and that's huge. 6 kills, 7 kills now as Nerfme's found one, and they're going to continue to pick up more players. Nerfme, he's putting in that
Caramba, o
Murphy
tá fazendo boa com a SLR dele.
Really good position for this one. Okay, they still have to push.
Opa, vamos ter um X1 agora.
Reckless has just been heard below Slim, so he'll be well aware of that. And if he can win this duel, they can keep 4 alive and comfortably work their way in. He's jumped on down.
He's getting
himself to safety. Reckless left. He's trying to fire onto him. But Reckless needs to be careful as well. And he gets gunned down. Plaza, he's providing the cover fire.
Porra, tem 3 Jeep, esse Jeep pode ser bem utilizado já fizeram bem trabalho de smoke, Chegou bem, movimentou bem.
Smart play, but that was a ballsy play also. That was really risky. But you know what?
Caralho, como é que ele já conseguiu spotar? Tem play ali.
Now South, still the Beast. He hasn't done the car move, I believe, to make the well, actually has he? I can't see from that angle. But if he has, this would be great. He's going to get uncontested. No one will be able to kill him unless maybe Gun come in with some hot grenades from there. Oh, he has. There you go. That's what I wanted to see. He's got the kind of perfect position. Though I do say I would personally have exploded it and popped the wheels already, but he hasn't done that. Maybe a little bit slow, but. Gun,
eles vão ter que fazer uma smokezinha para poder encostar, mas é tão safe, estão na beiradinha, bem close.
In this game, and they still got 3 more to go after this one. They're in the south, they're uncontested. It's in all the teams up north in the field. They are the survivalists, and this hopefully should be a game for them, unless maybe a lucky off angle from the side of the Beast could deny
Caralho, a safe fechou para a terra de ninguém.
On the other side of the road, and this could be potentially huge for Yonkers.
So they all have to push in.
Ai, mano, só mais uma HE pro Cloud ali. Pegou. Boa, caralho.
Yes. Well, they eventually nailed him on down. You throw enough, it's
certainly going to work. Tá de boa, mano.
There's a crate not far away in front of him, but it's a big risk trying to go for that now. I wouldn't want to be doing that anytime soon. Plaza's already taken a forward position. Is he behind the beast now? Has he gone over towards the side?
Já tá logo adiante, tá também.
Oh,
this would be wild.
Dropar as munições.
He's only got 10 seconds. The beast only has 10 seconds. Yeah, he's going to move on forward eventually, but they are showing their backs, and actually, no, they're going to scout the position of the beast. Check out the cars, maybe they can use that car for themselves, but he goes get instantly obliterated.
Caralho, eu confio. 2 pra cada, a matemática tá bom, mano. Eu confio. Oh, meta, dá mole. Vão se movimentar com o Jeep. Eu já vi essa história que não dá bom nada. Vai, Luiz, eu confio, porra. É isso, caralho. Finaliza, tá moscando. Mano, se for 2x2, a gente ganha essa partida. Quem confia? Se eles conseguirem pegar mais uma... Ah, agora o Luiz caiu. Já foi spotado, agora vai cair muito close. Movimenta, filho.
But no one is going down from the grenades just yet. And I love this from
Plaza. Só mais um tiro, só mais um tiro. Ai, mano, porra. Quase. Tá bom, mano, tá bom. Porra, até pegamos muitos abates. Não sei quantos abates o time BOPE pegou, o time da AOK também. Mas no top 2 tá bom. Deixa eu ver agora a BOPE.
Just the way they closed that game, by the way, it was so well executed. That is
caralho, o Nerf, mano. O Nerf que eu tava duvidando da SLR dele. Duvidar não, fiquei meio que surpreso, né? Tipo, porra, não tava vendo ninguém utilizar muito SLR.
Or snaking in a bush, or covering, or hiding behind trees. The way to overtake that and actually deny them a kind of good coverage is to get as spread as possible. Sure, they did lose one player because of that spread, but at the end, they still got information. And the moment they knew one player was in a bad position, or they could instantly get an angle on them because he was thrown in the grass. Or otherwise,
se tivesse feito mais uns abatezinhos, ainda subiria. O time BOPE ficou em 12º também, um abate. Até o time 13 pode passar para 12º ou 11º por causa de 2 abates que conseguiu pegar ainda.
Win. Gun, that was potentially one of the cleanest, and I really mean it, cleanest endings we've seen so far in this PMCO for the African region, because it's typical, it's by the book, but it's the reason for that is because it really, really does work.
Yeah, it was just playing the smart game, right? It was playing the numbers when it comes to it. We'll take a look at the rankings after this one. And look at this.
Pô, aí sim, porra, tá atualizar rápido, em tempo real. Subiu para a 16ª posição logo.
Gun have moved on up. They're now up in 7th place.
20 killzinha, caralho.
2 points behind KHK.
O Breno fez uma, o YNK fez uma, o Luiz fez 3, o Jay fez 5.
Just be that amount of kills. They're going to be sitting pretty. Let's look at in terms of this. They're probably the closest that could actually overtake Influence Rage Africa here.
22 pontos.
They could. They were 3rd position, and they want to make it back in 3rd position, just like in day 1. So a really good trend from the Gamers Unite Nation team, and hopefully many more games to come for them. Though in the other side, YNK's also, we got to mention this, Banks. They were fighting at literally 30 seconds into the game, and yet they were able to come out on top with still 2 players up alive in a plateau area in an open field, which is normally really hard to hold on to, especially when you do not have the man advantage to back it up. And yet, they come out on top. Now they finally make in top 16 position. I believe this might actually be their first time in top 16. Don't quote me on that, but I think that is the case. And now they're top 16. They're looking safe, but they still, with an extra 3 games to go, they could look at overtaking a lot of these teams and make it in the top 8 position just to be somewhat safe to go into the finals.
And YNK, not in a bad spot either, the same as Slime 4K. Remember, we've also got to keep pointing this out, that some of these teams have not played as many games as the others, which is why it looks so top-heavy in terms of the other teams that are already there. But we'll start to see as we move on to the second half of the ranking of where the rest of them go. CE Sport, we did cover them quite a little bit. They've managed to move their way on up. They did pretty good in terms of killing points with that for sure. Your killer is, okay, it's not ideal for them. They did kind of get attacked down by CE Sports very early on. BBC not in a bad spot for it overall. But I got to say, our boys in BOPE, I had high hopes for them, but I think it was when they were trying to rotate. They just got past Rozok. They were trying to go further south. And as that circle went out more towards the water, it was like, yeah, this fight's going to be a lot harder. And they actually got finished off by Gun during that game. So you went out to the eventual winners. I guess it's a positive you can take in it.
They could be a positive in this, but I just want to go back to what you mentioned earlier, Banks, actually. You mentioned the fact that, 10 teams in this bottom 16 initially before that first game were in the bottom 16 position, and they were also teams only played 4 games. So you could expect a lot of changes to happen in this position. And one of the big changes, well, unfortunately for one team, that's going to be Greedy for Kills. Despite the fact that, sure, they got himself 1 chicken dinner, they were initially, before this game, they were in 22nd position with 24 points total. And now they dropped in 26th position. And that's just off of 1 game. Imagine after 3 games, where they're going to be at the end. This is looking real dire and scary for Greedy for Kills. And they must be also looking at this stream potentially and getting really stressed out. So hopefully they can come back in the good games when they're going for the 2 last days of the group stage. But regardless, some big step ups from a lot of the teams. I'd still like to see more coming out from Existence. I think they did get overtaken by Gun a little bit too easily in that compound fight in the late game.
Lá não verifiquei. Qual é a segunda queda? Será que é Sanoki?
But overall, that was a sick game one with some, once again, some weird circles. But I think that by now weird circles are somewhat the new norm.
Rangel, depois a seguir Miramar, não sei se agora vão botar
It's a new thing that these teams have to deal with. It's certainly what these teams have to get used to. And actually, when it comes to it, right, the thing I look at with the weird circles, it's just a true test of teams, because you can be comfortable, you can have circles you've seen many times before, and you can say, we do it this way. We got our kind of A, B, C, and D plan for this. When you get a wild circle and you've got to adapt like that, that shows the real good shot callers, the good in-game leaders that can find the way in to find some success. And one thing about Gun, they posted themselves up on that building for a long time, right? Sat at the very top of it. Then they decided to move as the circle was kept out. But they sat in a position where they were still willing to take fights. They didn't turtle up. They didn't sit there and say, we're just going to allow other teams to walk all over us and come to us. They actually were proactive and wanted to do some more damage, which is why they weren't able to just get the win, but get the big amount of kills to give them such a crazy good ending towards that game. And we got Sanhok coming up next. Oh, yes. I'm even dressed to impress for it. I'm repping Sanhok in every way possible.
Oh, I think I might actually change shirt real wide. I'm wearing a t-shirt right now. I think I got a Sanhok like themed shirt over there, so we'll be good. We're talking about Gun right now because they're under the limelight. They're feeling really good after that win, of course. I just want to mention also they were a team that initially dropped to the West of Ferry Pair. So they had some still pretty big rotations to make happen. And they were like, okay, we got this position. They scouted, by the way, really efficiently from the plateau area up north of the Western Bridge. They're like, okay, we know that position is free. Just going to drive into it really early on because it was center circle. And you know that it's going to potentially keep on rotating in that position for 2-3 circles minimum. So they're like, you know what? We're just going to do some good shot calling. And good shot calling is indeed what they did. So Gun fully deserved that win because they did not have a given circle. And yet they were able to turn the tides in their favor. So that deserves a lot of respect coming out from me regardless. And hopefully that's the first good game from them of many because they were still 3rd position without a chicken dinner on day 1. And here they get chicken dinner. This shows that not only can they be a consistent team, they can be one of those teams that can indeed close off games and take the win when required.
Well, Erangel had us excited, and it certainly was a good start to our opening games of today. But we're going to be coming back after a break with more wise words, with more analysis of what's going to be happening on Sanhok. So go and get yourself some snacks and a drink, and make sure you're back with us in just a few moments.
Opa, estamos de volta. O que é que foi? Será que aqui é a internet? Não, não caiu, não caiu. Acho que é o sinal. O sinal é que está a demorar um pouquinho para chegar para nós. Já teremos a segunda queda, só não sei o mapa, creio que será Sanó, que é isso que eu tô a prever. Vamos aguardar aqui mais um pouquinho. Bora acompanhar um pouquinho. Caramba, o sinal tá caindo pra nós, mano. Bem, pessoal, vamos ter que aguardar aqui até que o sinal da transmissão melhore. Infelizmente é o sinal que a gente está a receber. Vamos aguardar que já voltará ao normal. É a própria live, é a própria transmissão oficial que está com problema. Deixa eu ver como é que tá o áudio. Pois é, mano, o BOPE tem que entrar squad for. Eu não tô entendendo, tipo, eu não reparei se entraram quantos players, tá vendo? Não reparei mesmo, mano. Se um deles não tá conseguindo entrar, porra. Epá, é péssimo, né? Ou empresta a conta pra alguém. Alguém coloca logo a sua sensibilidade e participa, mano. Ao invés de estar aí toda hora a participar só 3. E assim aí complica as contas. Não sei o que é que tá a se passar. Pra eles não estarem a entrar constantemente full squad, mano. Só que eu não havia reparado se entrou quantos players da vez anterior. Ou da primeira partida. Tem que entrar squad full, mano. Se não tá disponível, mano, alguém loga na conta aí, bota sense, joga mesmo. Menos pra compensar. Caramba, o sinal até agora nada, o sinal deles. Deixa ver aqui algo rapidinho. Deixa eu ver se os meninos já estão quanto tempo na partida. Pra ver mais ou menos se a partida aqui vai ser transmitida a que horas. A segunda queda.
So I'd like to see a little bit of a trial of fire for Slime
sim.
4K TNC, what they can potentially bring to the table. And also Team YNK. Let's not forget they took a win up against KHK Esport in one tricky position, and they are back on the battlefield for this one. back in the jungle once again to potentially try and take the
Vamos
game.
ter
So
essa
Team
knock
YNK also
agora.
going to be one of these teams that I'm looking out for and hopefully can take some big games. But regardless, I think that it is time for us to make our way into our second game of the day. Into the jungle we are going to be going, and it's going to be Sanhok on the menu once again. With the playing path is going to be pretty far over to the west, but regardless, it is a 4x4 map. So as I always like to say, nobody cares about the playing path on Sanhok. You can get anywhere you want without too much of an issue.
And one thing I know is when I'm in Sanhok, they won't see me because of my shirt, but they'll see you because you're in white. And you'll be easily spotted from halfway across the map.
It's just like it was Jason. I swear, you guys bully me. It's insane. Yeah, and you know Jason would do that. Yeah.
Deixa ver essa
the old
rota.
school casters bullying the new guys. There you go. That's how it is.
Trial by fire. That's what you've got to have. Yeah.
No. But regardless, we're going to see bootcamp. What's going to be happening?
Calma,
Yesterday we had some
Otávio
wild
só
bootcamp
jogando
action. It
duo.
seems like, hey, this time we're going to have Slime 4KT plus another sneaky team right underneath them. So you know what? No one can complain, especially as casters.
Aí é
Can't
foda,
complain for some
tipo,
early bootcamp
em
action.
certos
That is what we love
torneios,
to see
mano,
when
isso
we get some Sanhok games
é
underway.
passível de punição, estás a ver?
And
E
this
aí
is
eles
it,
não
right?
deixam
You
jogar
get so
duo.
close to each other. You mentioned, right, 4x4 in terms of what the map offers and what we see on it.
Yeah.
And in terms of this circle, again, it doesn't really matter to these guys. You may
complicado
go
assim. Já o
slightly
time Yonko
further
pegou a
over
região de
towards the right, not
Painá,
going
tá
to dodge. You might
safe.
go over
Se
towards
vocês notarem, mano, é difícil uma
but
primeira
for
zona
now,
segura aqui. Fechada, aliás, uma
yep,
segunda
we're going to
fechada
keep going.
distante
So
de
Max, we've
bootcamp.
lost him
Bootcamp
again.
é o
He's
centro e
dropped out for the
sempre
moment, but we'll
cola
bring
para
him
ali
back
nessas
in as soon as
direções.
possible. So
Principalmente a
you've just got
segunda.
my voice to take you through it all again.
Opa,
And Max touched on this
4KT vai jogar
just
com a PN.
slightly. That we already are going to have 4KT up against PN for the moment. Very close to each other. Whether they take the fights early on is another thing. But Storm, for now, he's going to be looking. He needs to be careful. He's getting closer towards his teammates in it. Fugger's having a good scout around and just hearing what could be going on around them. But it's this early battle where you have to try and win this by keeping everyone alive. And with Fugger being slightly separated from everyone, he needs to find the perfect moment to try and escape. It's certainly not easy with it, but we'll have to see if they'll be able to find him that route that he desperately needs to find. For now, the rest of Slime have kept themselves together. They're putting themselves into a pretty nice spot. But it's Fugger. He's aware, but he's not making any noise. And this is what's crucial. As he doesn't make the rest of the noise, his teammates can play around it. Storm, still running back around. He's joining up with the rest of them. And they're going to try and find a position at least where they can get some cover ground and also an advantage position to look up on towards them. Smoke's going to go out to make sure they do have that cover they need. Fugger, oh, he expects it. The shots come out and instantly he
Caralho,
finds
puxou
it.
na DBS, vai
He's
pra
going to go
cima
straight in for the
mesmo.
finish off. Doesn't just
Cara,
yet
deixou
expect another
bastante
player to be
ralfado,
close.
yeah?
He hits him quite
Caralho,
hard.
jogou
Brilliant
bem.
stuff from
Jogou
Fugger.
bem
He
o
takes two of them
Tugger.
down all on his own. Doesn't need to finish them off just yet. A Slime 4KT, they're showing us what they can do. A couple of their teammates have been
Tem que
dropped,
levantar
but
rápido,
he's
tem que
going to be able
levantar
to get the
rápido, tem que
revive
levantar
off.
rápido.
But this
Tugger
is
também tem
looking
que procurar
really
se
good for them. They might have done enough now to hold it off. They could potentially be looking at getting a squad wipe in here. And Fugger is just picking up all the pieces, all the kills they need. Some early action here straight away on Sanhok. And we see the kills.
Ainda só
start to
conseguiram
score from
pegar
their
uma
fashion. Now,
kill,
without
agora
the
vão ter que
16
partir
teams,
pra
as you can
cima.
see,
Vai dar tempo,
PM
vai dar
is
tempo, vai dar
already here.
tempo.
I'm hearing Max's voice again.
Acho que ele agora vai ter que
They're getting
voltar pra
revives off.
poder dar
So
cover aos
Slime
seus
didn't fully
companheiros.
commit to it. Fugger wanted to be slightly more
Pegou já
careful,
HE.
but they're going to get
Essa
themselves
HE
the
já
extra
era.
loot.
Ela.
Oh, the
Se
nade's
liga,
going
se
to go
liga,
up
se
as
liga,
well.
se liga, se
If
liga. Não
Vets
vai
can
ter tempo
land
de ir
this,
lá e vai
just
cair
when they're
logo.
trying to get the revives going, it could cause them a world of hurt. The nade comes out, they try to
Quase.
run away. A bit of damage may have been able to do. But this was something
Mano,
special.
agora
The
deu
fact that both
tempo.
teams
Por quê?
were able
Porque
to
eles
keep
não vão
themselves
puxar
in a fair
agora.
enough
Não
good
tem
position.
informação
The Beast was
total.
the
Ainda
only
tem
one
alguns meio
going down.
atrasados. Vai
But
dar
what a
tempo pra ele
great
poder
start from these
lá.
two teams in
Agora
trying to play it
complicou a
smart.
situação,
But you can
mano.
see the confidence from Slime.
É o
It's
Chapo tá com pouco
oozing out of
HP, vai
them.
rodar na bandagem.
Really good stuff. I was seeing the entire thing. I don't know what happened, but that's fine. I was able to catch every moment of that fight, and Thurgo was doing such good work, especially with that early DBS fight. But now they're going for the full-on push. They want to find the extra knockdowns and clear out bootcamp for their own gain. And Pain, they are indeed in a world of pain currently, trying to move away with their low HP. They can't res up, and I don't even think they have the resources to take this, as
Mano,
Aimer
essa
actually
trocação
goes
aqui
down
ainda
to the
pode
hands
dar
of El
bem, pode
Chapo.
dar bom
This
pra
guy is
PN.
insane, by the way.
Yeah, tem muitos players
This
ralfados
is what
da
they need to be
4KT.
careful of. Overextension. They may have the
Atrasou
numbers,
pouquinho na hora de
but
rushar.
sometimes they can win out the duels. And Slime, they've got to make the tricky decision in this one.
Opa, agora
Like you
conseguiu
mentioned,
fazer a
Aimer already
trade
being
do
knocked down, but
Storm.
Storm found Kingham in for the meantime. El Chapo wanted to do as much work as possible, but he's been tagged up quite a lot. He's going to try and escape out of this as his teammate Hanad comes back
Se ele
into
saltar,
the
ainda
farm.
consegue dropar ele.
Comes
Saltar,
back
consegue
into the
dropar.
field, comes back into the fight. But is it going to be enough? They're starting to fight it out. Hanad's going to go straight in for the execution. Is it even possible? Yes, he takes down Storm. So that means they do lose their in-game leader early on. But they did pick up a full squad wipe. And we're already down to just 14
só atrasou
teams.
Pouquinho rushar o time da
You know what?
4K
At least they lose only the IGL in a way that the IGL, when you lose him, he can take a more of a backseat position and do backseat gaming, just tell the team what to do and be the overlooker of the squad. So the IGL, some people even tend to say that when the IGL dies, that's when he actually can do his job best because he's not focused on his gameplay anymore, can just dictate the team. So that's something to also keep in mind. But he was also being the one that did most of the fragging power, especially in that Miramar game just 2 days ago. So at the end of the day, it was still a really good shot. I do like the way that initially they took that fight. The reason why is because they saw that Pain was split away from each other. They had one player down south and they were up there, the 3-man team. It was a 4v3 initially. And they took that 2 knockdowns, turned 1 into a flush, and they had a man advantage. So they played that, I still believe, really, really well. They did tend to get a little bit split away from each other, which did cause the demise for Storm. But at the end, the most important thing is to come out on top. Now they got the entire boot camp loot for themselves, which hopefully is going to get them to a good bunch of tier 3 armor in terms of helmet and also the vest. So they should be in a really good spot. But overall, that's some good stuff. But we didn't have time to really talk too much about the circle here, Banks. And I want to talk the phase 1 circle. It came over to the western side, and I brought this up yesterday, and I'm going to bring it down up here once again, the trifecta position, because every single island is currently in play. You have no idea where it's going to end up. So whichever team goes there first, I think it would be great for YNKs. If they go up there away from Pinant into the trifecta of the river, hold on to it, they will have the best rotational position overall, depending on wherever the circle ends up going. So I would like to see some teams put that a big focus onto that one, hopefully. I was talking about them, actually. We're going to have ourselves a little bit of a fight happening. YNKs take some shots and great connection actually happening for them. Is going to go down. The great sniper, by the way, of game 1 on Orangle. He's going to be down for the count, but a res could still come on through.
Caralho, mano.
Nice battle
Vai
back
finalizar só pra isso aí.
To continue their domination. As long as they can get Val back up, they sit in a nice spot. Slim has some good awareness around him. They're willing to take this fight, despite there being a high ground advantage. But not coming in has enabled them to be able to pick up their teammate. They may be looking down there.
Se o Luiz não tivesse pego rápido o cover, já era. O João tinha visão para poder supressar
sequer. To actually see directly where the gun are sat for now. So they're in a position at least where they can be comfortably playing around little areas to give themselves a bit of defense in this one.
When both teams like this, in a situation like this, when one has got a compound, one has got a high ground, this should never result in the big on fight happening. Reason why, we're in third-person mode. So, YNKs can just peek over the wall.
Malta, bora compartilhar ali a live para vossos grupos do WhatsApp.
If these teams
pelo menos assim mais gente vai acompanhar aquela live, vão poder torcer com a gente
we got the
aqui.
intel, we're just going to make sure they're not going to peek too much and we're not going to move, especially because they are currently in circle. But that is going to be stopping potentially the plans of YNKs because especially Gun, they dropped towards Quarry initially. And they made their way through really fast on their rotation, just like what they did on game 1 that allowed them to take the win, by the way. So Gun is like, we found a working formula. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're going to keep on going that way. But unfortunately for them this time, they did encounter a team along the way and they do not have that high ground advantage. So they got to be very careful. Slim really wants to find those shots, at least peeking out on the side, despite having that third person perspective I was mentioning. So he is taking a little bit of a risk. But YNKs, while like also they got Jebba on the side, making sure he can just keep the intel for his team and prepare for future endeavors, future rotations to come. So I think that overall YNKs are pretty well prepared for a fight and also for their rotations, which is what I was expecting from this team. I would love to see them take a win. Hopefully, maybe not today, maybe not in this game, but hopefully throughout the entire event. I think that they are a team that has some true potential when it comes down to it. So I just want to see them close off a game, hopefully. But also other teams, the East was actually pretty focused down off teams. So you could expect a lot of teams making their way through the side of Paradise Resort, also Boot Camp and Pinant itself. So if you're on the East, you're unsure as if you might make it into the next circle because there's a lot of action that might be unfolding over onto the eastern edge as they're getting pretty close to each other. But talking about getting closer, the circle is getting closer to making it into phase 2 as we're going to see where it's going to go. And it goes back on over to the east, a little bit of a hard shift.
Em qual aparelho vocês jogam? PUBG Mobile?
Cross over the river, which
acho que geral já está jogando iPhone 11, iPhone 12 Pro pra cima.
Saying, right? It might be difficult for the teams over on this eastern side to come back in. Well, this worked out perfectly.
E como é que tem sido a experiência para vocês? Para quem já jogou no Android e migrou para
they took the control very early on. They didn't have to fight for it, other than after that first initial fight where there was no other team to come and try third party and get involved. So they're sitting pretty right now.
Mas uma das coisas que eu notei na
set themselves quite
sensibilidade.
nicely up here. Same for YNK. They're just chilling. They know they've got a good spot. They're hoping that Gun might try and make an escape and they might be able to capture that on it. And that's what Gun are trying to do right now. They're moving back on forward. They're trying to find a way out of this. And they'll keep having a little poke up the top just in case a few shots come out towards them.
Ele vai pegando aquele high ground, aquela montanha mais
and they'll
acima
just
de
take their time on
Paina.
this rotation. It's all about the cautious plays from here. And it's only the teams, like you mentioned, over towards Camp Alpha, up over towards the
Agora
northwestern side, that have to
aliás,
work their way
substituíram
back in,
Saifa
because
pelo
there's no
Madoda.
risk now of wanting to stay on that side. You've got to find your way over, and you just got to be one
Tem que
of the
rodar, tem
first
sempre
teams over that
quinto
doesn't have to
player,
fight their way
sexto, né?
across the bridges.
See, esports actually already kicked their rotation into play. They are
Hoje em
starting to
dia
cross
as
over the bridge.
partidas praticamente já têm,
was scouting
aliás,
on
os
forward
times
for
têm
CE
feito
Sports,
uma
which
boa
is great.
gestão, estás
And
a
I
ver?
believe by
Há
how this team
normalmente
is
certos
rotating
players
really
que
quickly, I
jogam
think that
melhor
shows
em
to me that they did their
determinado
research. Because only
mapa.
one team drops on the east of that bridge, and that is New Team. New Team is not in this lobby. So I think that here, CE Sports, if the research has indeed been done, that's why they're feeling so confident on pulling a very quick rotation over to make it to the mainland, to make sure they don't have to rotate
Porra, só que eles
across the
não
river
estão
later
botando o
stages.
time
Because
BOPE.
crossing
Será
the
que o
river
BOPE
is
foi
never
de
a good
lobby?
thing, but
É
if you're
porque eles
crossing
não,
river
por que
like
eles
phase
não
1, phase
mostram
2, that's
agora?
okay. If you're talking about crossing a river phase 4, 5, 6, that's
Mas
where
alguém
things get a
sabe
little
por
bit
que o
dicey.
BOPE
So I think
vai
that
entrar
here CE
simplesmente
Sport have a really
dois
good game plan in
players,
mind. So
três?
let's see if they can execute it properly overall. As I'm seeing
Não
also
tá a
Existence, they
pegar,
dropped
pega a
onto the
conta, mano.
northwestern
Passa
island
pra
on
alguém
top of the
ali.
big
Epa, é
hilltop, the
mesmo
big
feio,
mountain
né? Mas,
of the
porra, tem que
Sandhog
fazer
map.
a boa, senão não
And I
dá
believe
pra
that
toda
has
jogar
yet to
dois,
kick their
três.
rotation into gear. So Existence, I said it, they need to be a lot quicker on their feet to try and find those good, valuable
Bem que não é
positions. They
presencial por
have yet to do
enquanto,
so
mano.
so far in this event as of
Tá, o
yet.
time
So
já
hopefully
pegou um bom
today is going to be a
posicionamento,
day
mano. É
of
só
change for
segurar.
them.
Esperar que a
So many
terceira
teams
zona
though
segura
pretty
e depois
already
se
central,
movimentar.
really close to the start of boot camp. And I'm surprised actually. I don't know what you think here, Banks, but boot camp was. They won the fight earlier. That was going to be the side of Slime 4KT, but they have
Já
yet
aí,
to move away from this
kit, 10
position, which I think
bandagens,
the boot
dois
camp, if you have to
biricos,
move away
dois
from it late game, is so
analgésicos, uma
tricky
seringa de
because so flat
adrenalina.
all
Oh, o
around.
Nazaboy,
How
rapaz,
to
tá
move away,
doido, tá se movimentando
one
assim,
player that's not going to
Naza.
move away from that one is Nazaboy. He's gone.
Yeah, NASA Boy was desperately trying to
Achou
maybe
que
scout
tava
ahead and
fofo,
see what
afinal
was
era
going on.
armadilha,
All did
caralho.
he expect was going to be the magicians comfortably waiting for him in this one. Goes to Mohammed quite far away. They won't be able to even come back to try and battle back. And right now, I wouldn't even recommend they try and do that. So they'll sadly just go down a member and they have to sit there because the ATL magicians.
Está na escola, outro não conseguiu entrar. Mano, há uma coisa, o time BOPE tem bons jogadores, tá vendo? Tem mesmo bons jogadores. De certeza que tem alguns, né, que nesse momento estão disponíveis. Era simplesmente uma conversa interna. Para alguém eu passar a conta, alguém que confia mais um dos players do time, para poder fazer a boa. Por enquanto ainda não é presencial, estás a ver? Porque tipo, porra, você está jogando duo, praticamente você já entra em desvantagem e tua estratégia de jogo é completamente alterada. Por quê? Porque você não pode tipo avançar em um compound e tentar avançar em um local que tipo para defender necessário um esquadrão. Você não vai avançar, vai abdicar. Por vezes há momento que você não vai logo rotacionar para safe, porque sabes que pode receber um de um esquadrão, vai ser complicado. Praticamente altera a tua estratégia por completo. E se fosse tipo numa PMPL, uma PMGC, provavelmente o duo não estaria jogado, estás a ver? Ou era impedido de entrar na partida, porque praticamente já desequilibra em si. Já vai dando aquela vantagem por parte do
They already have
adversário.
nerfed me in a really good compound, actually, do mention that. So I don't think they have to move that much. They could tend to put a little bit more focus onto scouting and just making sure that no one's too close to them and deny teams trying to breach that position. But I think that here, Gun, and they actually all regroup in that exact same position where Nerf was. So they actually go for the compound. Yeah, I think they're actually going for a little hilltop position instead of the compound, which, you know what? High ground is always good, but when you have a compound that's so valuable nearby, I think that would be the better option. But hopefully that's going to be fine. But this is great. This is so great for Slime. Reason why they were potentially going to get denied trying to move away, but because Gun moved away from that,
Mano, essas rotações que é muito traiçoeira.
easily. There's a
Tipo,
little building
avançar
over to the
aberto,
eastern edge. They're like,
ainda
okay,
não
we're
tem
going to send Fex on
informação.
forward, and then because we know that position is free real estate,
Também
send the
só
entire team
rajadão
out.
ali.
They got a little bit lucky on that one, so hopefully now they can get in a good position without getting heavily contested. Because I was a little bit stressed out for Slime purely based off the fact that Gun was there, but now that they're not, like that's a piece of cake. Super easy.
I love this from Fex. He spots the crate, right? He knows it's there, but he doesn't just jump the gun. How many times have we seen this, Max, where players will just get a little bit overzealous? They'll go, oh, crate. And they're like a dog to a bone, running straight to it, and they want to take it. And then quickly, there's a load of bullets raining down on them. So but maybe before they want to go for it, they're being slightly more cautious here. But Aimless, well, he spots players coming out towards him. It's your killer is. His teammate has already been knocked down, and he's going to be burnt out by the looks of it. Oh, it doesn't go quite. Okay, they go for the window. I thought they were just going to finish off Suck real quickly. Your killer is they're looking to try and bait out the teammate into some fire. But they've got full control of this. They've pushed him back. They can easily get the finish off. They're checking on in it. They're hoping that some of his teammates might want to come in. But BBC, they were split up 2-2 at the time.
That was a good push from your killers. Nothing to say. Also, it's pretty hard to defend from this building when a team is coming downhill. Reason why you have that little overhang of the roof right in front of the windows. It can make it pretty tricky to actually look really high up. So overall, I think they knew that they could potentially push that one pretty far without getting attacked too easily from that compound. But now Team BBC, they got Aimless alone in this position. Still got his 2 teammates over to the west of where he is currently, but not in the position to really directly assist him. So Aimless is just going to try and hold on to a position, make sure they don't get too close of him, and maybe retract himself from that equation and get close. But your killer is actually getting shot from a distance, and that is going to be Alpha Pack making their way forward and slowly fragging it out, making their way into the kill feed. So they're looking for an opportunity to frag it out, but fortunately, the kill has yet to be confirmed. Method get back on his feet. Going to get into the building to stay safe for the time being. But they're very far away from the center circle, so odds are Phase 4 is not going to go their way.
Não iremos entrar foi nenhuma, infelizmente. Vamos finalizar a competição em 3. Mas por quê? O que é que foi? Mas eu creio que na classificatória vocês estavam a jogar 4. Mas o que é que aconteceu? Será que não teve problemas? Porque eu estava a dizer, devido às novas exigências, não podemos colocar outro player. Tipo, vocês não podem colocar, mas lembrando, né, que nesse momento ainda não é presencial, creio que no vosso clã tem bons jogadores. Porra, tipo, epa, eu sei que né, não é justo, né, mas a maioria dos times provavelmente também está a fazer o mesmo. Se calhar um de vocês poderia, um dos vossos players poderia estar a jogar na conta de um dos players ali que não está presente nesse momento para poder compensar.
Zipdog's coming around to back him up as well, but you still got to be so cautious. The Money's gone out forward, and Aimless, well, he's looking to bring that perfect aim in there. I think he's living a lie with that name, because he's able to pull off some nice shots straight onto Zipdog as well. The jump shots coming in as well, and Aimless, he's running and gunning, he's going for the charge. The revive's coming on in, the timing on this. If Aimless can pull this off,
vai, Fantasy. Eu confio, Fantasy. Você é bom, filho.
There could have been a timing he had there.
Estás a ver lá rilar, mano. Eu confio, você é bom. Estás de berril. O berril é bravo, eu confio. Vai, pode ir pra cima, porra. É isso.
But Aimless, he cannot capitalize on it. He's going to be finished off, and your killer is strong. But it wasn't easy on Alex there to put more of them down in the blue at Phase 4.
Aimless, more like godless. That was a godly play. Not quite the clutch, but not still close enough for me. That is going to be a montage highlight play for sure. But Valak, unfortunately for him, the team went right in front of them, and that's going to be YNK Daily. Quick, jump in the gun on the
aí trolla, yeah.
Circle, all the teams on the southern and western edge. So this is a really good shot calling once again from YNK. They are looking forward to the game, looking for the circle to get a good position. And that's going to reward them with a few frags along the way. Up to 3 already, and especially up to the 4-man team.
Reconhecimento essa porra toda.
Mano,
mas epa, é inferioridade numérica, mas dê vosso melhor. É claro que eu já estava a dizer, né? Tipo, a vossa estratégia automaticamente já é logo alterada. Opa, o Luiz agora acaba de pegar uma doda, mandar de lobby. E a vossa estratégia já é completamente alterada porque, porra, jogando em inferioridade numérica, vocês vão ter que jogar muito limitado, tá a ver? Principalmente quando é tipo para tentar fazer a rotação, tentar pegar logo algumas posições que são que vão estar muito na mira dos players adversários. E aí que seria muito difícil estar a defender essas posições por causa, aliás, estando simplesmente a jogar 2 players ou 3. 3 até normal, mas 2 é foda.
Reckless looking to first aid himself up. Tick's not super high just yet, but he needs enough time to survive. These teams on the far western side have such a run to make into the next circle as well, that if they spend too long fighting here, it could be treacherous for their decision making and how they go further forward.
ATL Magicians, this is 2 games where they're given a really good circle and they can potentially try and play their cards correctly. They didn't quite get the game, unfortunately, on game 1. Game 2 might just be their lucky charm. Second, it maybe be the charm for them. But Team YNK, they're also in a really good spot. And the last time we saw them in a good position on Sanhok, they ended up taking the win up against KHK Esports. So do not count them out of this one. They might be able to snatch it away. Good mollies coming on through, maybe stopping them from pushing out early from that door. That molly makes them take a little bit more take damage down, which a little bit of take damage could be detrimental. Clutch with the off angle onto Cole. Some shots, but not quite the knock.
Eu não tenho kit. Também não posso ficar aí muito tempo. Vai mesmo na bala, pelo menos deixa bastante real fase. Porra, só que o KG também tava ligeiro aí. Já era pro Clout ali. Já era. Já ia botar tá como. Eita porra, fazendo aquela guyzinha. Se não mata o squad e leva duas.
Okay, it's still going to be a big trouble to run, but he was able to even get that kill in the first place.
Rust Boy já não perde tempo, já vai pegar na nossa motoca aí.
We saw that happen the other day, and so far 0%
Ai
amount of
caralho,
success
essa
on
guy é
the best
bastante
plays. We'll
close
see
no
if it can happen
Jumenk.
now.
Essa
We're
trocação
gonna
vai
have you
ser
go,
boa,
Team
o
13
Plaza.
Yonku's making
Mano,
their
até
way
agora
forward
eles não
after a
se
great fight earlier.
deixam.
They're going to be taking that fight head on with Gun that took the first chicken din of the day. And Gun, they're already, they're in the dip, waiting for their chance to strike. And they initiate with a Uzi play of Plaza.
Viu. Derruba já aí.
Plaza still trying to do some nice shots there, even though he was prone. He's got his teammates around him.
Só surpresa.
Full force, head
Caralho, agora vai chegar a chuva da Gaia. Chega a chuva da Gaia. O bem que o time da Gun não tá aqui, não tá pressionando, mano. O Jumenk tá com pouco HP. Porra, essa Gaia pode ser traiçoeira. Bem que eles não têm ainda informação onde é que eles se encontram. O Jumenk tem que se rilar antes, mano, de levantar. Não compensa, porque vão rushar neles, nem ele tem HP, nem o Breno também tem. Que é o pra zona eletromagnética. Mano, o spray desse rapaz tá bom demais, já?
Just on the nick of time. They've just come alive, Max. Gun just said, all right, we're going to poke up here. We're going to take the advantage and we're going to rain down plenty of bullets on everyone.
Momo's like, maybe? I mean, no one's shooting. It's seeming calm. Well, no, unfortunately, he was going to be careful into this one. Great shot coming out, though. And that's going to be an extra player going out for the side of Eraser Crew. They're going to be
Mano, nada mal. Pelo menos top 7,
now,
né?
Acho que down to one player. They still picked up 5 kills
também.
on Sanhok. That's big. And also a top 4. This is potentially their best game yet in the tournament. And they are showing up strong with it.
Meu Deus! Vai cair pro gás. Vai cair. Polícia safe, porra, quase.
Oh my god, he's barely in. He's barely in the circle there. That stressed me out.
Porra, mano, você tomar um susto, você entrando nessa casinha, encontrando o I deitado. Parece que já alugou, já deixou aí a cama dele. Tipo, só disse, porra, quando chegar nessa casa, já tem um quarto, já tem uma cama quentinha, vou ficar aí.
That's my size of apartment.
Yeah. Just a box room, you're just in the corner like, guys, I got my PC, my desk in, but I can't really move.
Viu.
Oh, that's nice, though.
Student flat.
Maluco, é dropou, já tá finalizado no mesmo pente, já. Legacy acaba de cair. Mano, será que o time Gun só fará dobradinha? Porque o time da MGC pra já não tem como sair dali. O time da YNK vai ser um famoso 4x1, provavelmente. Duvido muito o Ghost de fazer essa play. Já foi spotado, já viu, é GG, mano, é dobradinha. É dobradinha, o Ghost tá aqui, tá só segurar, foi no pré-fire, tentou abrir. Vai ser GG, mano. Faz dobradinha. Dobradinha. Quantos abates o time Yonko pegou? Porra, pegou muitos abates, mano. Ainda consegue passar o sexto e o quinto colocado.
Back-to-back chicken dinner from Gun. And not only is that a back-to-back chicken dinner, that is the first back-to-back. UAE almost made it happen yesterday with 3 wins in a row, but no, not quite. But here, this is still going to be the very first official back-to-back win from Gun. And what a showing. Like we said on the first day, 3rd position without a win. They were shown they were consistent, and now they are proving once again that not only are they consistent, they can close off games, and in fashion at that, with so many kills, and especially, it was still alive as a 4-man team. On Sanhok, that is so hard to execute normally. And yet they make it happen without breaking a sweat. Team UNK, though, showing once again that they tend to rotate pretty well on this map. They take away a 3rd position. And ATL Magicians, they were in a really strong position from the very start. And you know what? 2nd position from being gifted a circle. I'm going to say that's still a pretty big game. But man, what a showing. These finishes are wild. And especially, once again, Gun, the reason why they won that first game was because they had so much coverage, because they knew they had the man advantage. They want to deny as much protection away from their enemies, and they did it there again. Got super spread, pushed it on forward to make sure that the enemy can't take a 1v4, doesn't even have a chance to find a knock or two, and they don't make it happen. So at the end, Gun, once again, showing that they can take the wins and close off the game in such insanely well-executed playstyles. I got to say, this team, I think that from what they've been shown on their first day and today, I potentially think they might even be the best team in this lobby.
Well, they are very close to it. Just listen to this. The first game, they had 30 points, 15 kills, 15 kill points. This game just now, they got 25 points, 10 kill points, 15 placement points. They now sit back in third place with 2 more games to go, and they are the first team to get back-to-back chicken dinners. Undisputed African Esports was the first team to have 2 chicken dinners. Gamers Unite Nations just said, anything you could do, we can do a lot better, and we'll do it back-to-back as well. When I talk about statement games, this is it. When we talk about consistency, this is the best form of consistency you can look at. I am more than impressed. And you pointed out to me, Max, I said, oh, maybe they'll try and gatekeep a bit of the South. They didn't, right? They went up the hill. They didn't even choose to take the compound, which would be maybe better because it's a good compound, like you mentioned. They went up to take the fight and to get more kills because they weren't happy with the amount of kills they had up to that point. This is great. This is what we love to see in PUBG Mobile.
Exactly. This is what really makes a team go strong. And this is what makes the legacy also of a team. The team that plays like this, I got to say, is really impressive all around. So we'll be talking about these guys, I believe, for quite a while. I think they deserve it. They definitely made a spot in my mind. That is for damn sure. Now looking onto the other side, and actually, I'm looking at one thing that's really interesting. I need to get the schedule, the overall rankings, I got to say, before the kickoff of today. At the start of the day, we were seeing Slime 4KT. They were standing in 14th position. And now you look at Slime 4KT in the overall standings, as it did move away, unfortunately. But Slime 4KT, they're currently standing in 15th. They actually dropped away. Surprisingly enough, they did drop down a little bit, despite actually playing games, which really should not be happening. So a little bit surprised to see that happen on this game.
Yeah, Mamba's going to be crying to us later on, but maybe he'll be able to turn it around the final 2 games. And the interesting point you just mentioned there is, yes, okay, Slime have dropped down a place, but it's CE Sports, it's ATL Musicians, it's YNK that have all risen up, and they've pushed them that little bit further down. So this is now where we get to see such a crazy level of competition. I did not expect Sanok to get that exciting towards the end. I did not expect to see back-to-back chicken dinners. And this really makes this lobby super competitive now, because you kind of look at this, right? When we see the first opening 2-3 days, you have a feel for what might happen. I wasn't sure what we were going to see from these guys here, but this has been a pleasant surprise.
Been really present. And also, I think the one team can be really pleased with what's been happening today so far is going to be the side of Yonkus. Yonkus, they started off the day being in 25th position with 20 points. Now they currently was 50 points, so they got already double of what they did in 1 day in 4 games. Now, just in 2 games, and they got even actually double that. They got an extra 30 points. They made it up to 50, and they jumped to 17th position. Sure, it's still not top 16, but you got to keep in mind that they still got 2 games to go. So that is easily doable for them, especially by how they've been playing. They're just raw fragging power alone is definitely something to look out for going into these games. So I think the Yonkus definitely made a spot for them in my mind as to potentially make into the finals of this African PMCO. And then teams that are still struggling quite a bit, I got to say, Your Killer is an Existence, 2 teams that I think have been given multiple opportunities, and yet they're just not able to organize themselves and capitalize on those opportunities, which I'm a little bit sad about. So still 2 games to go. They can still make that change happen, but I got to say, it's starting to be a little bit risky. If I were them, I'll be like, okay, we still got 6 games total to play before we know if we make it or not into the finals. This is our time to perform. If we don't, like, we're out. This is so unfortunate to say at this stage.
Yeah, and that's when you look at the teams like BOPE, for example. I pointed them out because I thought their ranking game was slightly better, and then we come into this and, oh no, they're still really far down the overall rankings. It's like, okay, if you're not able to step up at this point, it's probably over. So it's just making the most of the official games you've got left. It's about most of representing yourselves the best way possible and learning and growing. And this is what we talk, right? People may look at this format and go, oh, we lose 16 teams at the end of this week. It's like, yeah, okay, it's a tough format, but there's so many games. There's 12 games each for these guys to play in and show their full form. If they haven't, then they need to use the rest of the games where they're so far behind to test something out, to use official games in the best way possible, to try something new and also learn as much as possible. Because this is the beauty of it all. There is growth to be had here for all teams.
It's true. Like, teams have been really coming into it together, especially we saw that happen for Group A and Group C yesterday. Like, so many teams improved so much, especially new team, despite that Miramar game, but we're going to forget about that one. Overall, teams have still really improved, and I got to say that I'm really happy to see this happen from a lot of these teams. You know, I dropped my sushi on the ground. I thought, like, this day sucks, but just by the games that have been happening today, I'm still really happy to see these teams show up to the occasion and get some potentially really good results into it, because I think that we have now, like, by what I've been seeing, so I changed my opinion completely from day one. I said that yesterday on the show. And I think that here we have, I would say we have a good 10 teams that I think would do really good in PMPL. I would love to see them make it to that stage, because I think they have so much to bring to the table. And I would like to see the African meta go up against the other regions and see how they can potentially fight up against them, because I think that they can take a few big teams down out there.
And that's what it's all about. And when you spoke about dropping your sushi, I recommend people also don't drop their phones, especially if they don't have a case in it. And if you're going to have a phone, you should probably grab yourself one of the Reno 5G. They're born to win, right? It's the coming Oppo Reno 5 series, and it's the official designated smartphone of PUBG Mobile for the Middle East and African esports regions for 2021. Equipped with excellent hardware and software for gaming, this device should always be able to lift you up for the upgraded fun and enjoyment in the battlefield. That's what we've had so far. That's what Gunner certainly having, because they're just blowing us away with their amazing plays. But what we're going to do is blow away just for a little bit, for a few minutes, take a cooler, take a breather. You probably need it as well. And when we come back, with the third game and Miramar. So stay tuned. We'll see you in a few. We are back and we are fast and furious into game 3. We're moving on to Miramar, and so far, oh my God. Okay, I didn't expect that, Max. Max just told me, because just so people know at home, I can't see him when we're at a break. He just told me he was going to cosplay, and I expected, I don't know, maybe like a slightly deserty looking shirt. You went all out. Where have you just come from? Where did you explain this, Max?
I just come back from Dubai. Like when we went to Dubai for the PMGC finals, we actually went into the desert for an entire afternoon, and I was like, dude, I can actually use this at home. I did not expect this to be usable here, but you know what? I got my water goo to you to make sure they don't get out of I'm part of the hydro homies. You know, we're good to go. I got my snake, also rattlesnake from the desert. I'm all ready to go. I'm in the vibe. I'm feeling this Miramar vibes here. I'm ready to go.
I'm impressed. I've been upstaged. You've done incredibly well. So you've made up for all the mistakes of earlier today. You look like you definitely fit in the Miramar desert. I don't think you're very bulletproof though, so we'll get you a vest for next time as well, right? Well, then a level 3 helmet might need to be added to that. You know, I have a level 3 helmet somewhere still. I got a level 3 helmet from one of the PUBG events we did ages ago, and I used it on broadcast once. Do you remember when we did the original PMCO?
Did you get a helmet? I don't remember. Dude, that's a weird flex. Okay, I would love that. Oh.
I got a helmet, and then my son's 4 years old. He stole it and just runs around the house with it. And I'm like, well, guess I don't have my level 3 helmet anymore. He thinks it's hilarious. But yeah, I'm gonna have to up the levels now. As you guys will see, this broadcast progresses. Me and Max will try and theme ourselves as much as possible. What do we theme ourselves for a wrangle? How does that work?
Wrangle. Oh man, it's like the most normal maps. We got to go normal. Yeah. If we had Vikendi, I could maybe get like a big warm clothes, but of course that's taken off the table. We know that. Thank you, PUBG Mobile team. But no, so we'll try get some more cosplays later on. We're okay. But at the end, we're still going to try and get ready. We're going to try and get serious. Even I don't think it's possible wearing this. But I love it. Regardless, now we're making our way to our game 3 on Miramar, and here's some. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. He's sending me. He's feeling good. But yeah, now onto Miramar. You know, we're looking for some potentially big rotations happening, and especially if we do have some big hilltop finishes, we're hoping to see no one slip down as it happened yesterday with the side of New Team, was very unfortunate, but also very funny and very entertaining. If you guys missed that Miramar game of yesterday, by the way, I would highly recommend, and I mean highly recommend, go back, watch it for a few minutes and come back and put some Omega lulls in the chat or kick W's. That's fine, because that was mental.
And we did not expect it, right? I think that was the craziest thing. We saw, I forgot the name of the player, but he was solo trying on his own, and he couldn't actually work his way up the mountain. He was like, okay, so the blue's coming. I can't walk around now. I can't go back. I'm just going to have to die out to the play zone. And then we saw the fight at the end where they're like desperately fighting for the hilltop. New team went to res their teammate, and then that didn't work out for them because they lost a vital position, and it was like a risk versus reward that didn't work out. We almost thought it was going to go Crater Fields, and then we got an even crazier ending. So, you know, we'll be fine with it. We seem to be delivering on the best circles, the most entertaining circles. I'd love for chat to let us know, do you prefer if it's a crazy circle or a normal circle? Because we know the players, they love the normal circles. But like for me, I like the craziness. It gives us more fun action to commentate. It also makes it very unpredictable. For the teams, I know they want their like, we just have it nice, we want it normal, we want to be able to play. And I get that, right? We want to see the best plays come through. And for me, Miramar, it's always been my favorite map. I've loved it since it's come out. I find it really fun for trying to play smarter on the rotations. I know you're not a fan of it, Max, but I love being in Los Leones. I love to be up there in the city, fighting it all out, causing madness. I just like the world to burn by the looks of it.
Apparently, I'm a Picado boy. You know, if I got to drop on Miramar somewhere, it's going to be Picado. And I love team actually one team that drops there, and that proves my point. By the way, that Picado is the better compound in Miramar at that. Is a Bigatron. Hey, I gotta flex my knowledge a little bit here. It was Bigatron. They dropped there, and one reason why Bigatron like to drop there is one, it's got incredible loot for a 4-man team. By the way, you're almost always going to be like tier 2 or tier 3 minimum, going to get your team up there. So you're going to be fully ready to take those fights upward. And also, you got easy access to high ground position right up north. You got so many roads to just move around easily and quickly if you need it at that. And also, the car spawns in Picado are out of this world. You're always going to be getting everything you need for a good game of Miramar. So I think that Picado also, talking about all these things that make Picado so good, is dead center of the map. So if you have like still a weird circle pop up, your Picado, boom, easy rotation. You can always get access to any point of the map from the middle of Picado. So that's why I love Picado myself, is because I find it really good. But Los Leones is really fun if you like to frag it out a little bit and go to the jaws of your enemies early game, which, you know what, I respect that. I understand it. If you want to, that's okay. But for me, Miramar is not about early game fights. It's all about rotation pathing and also IGLing, where you want to go and see on phase 2 what kind of circle you're going to be dealing with and what kind of terrain you're going to be dealing with. So that's why I like Picardo myself. But, you know, anyways, it's just my input, just my personal opinion. And anyways, it's the internet. Nobody cares about my opinion, so it's okay.
I care about your opinion, Max, and I'm sure most of our viewers should as well, because you are the
Bem,
analyst
tudo
man when it comes
completamente
to all this side
calculado.
of
Agora
things.
vamos
When you were
para a
talking about
nossa
Picardo
terceira
so much in there,
queda.
I was looking down this, and again, thanks to Mambo from Slime 4KT helping us out with knowing some of the drop spots before we came into these games.
Botou uma de
There
árabe.
is 4 teams that like to go Picardo. There's 4 teams right now that like to do it and try and find out in a similar zone. So obviously a lot of them have to just kind of give up on it. The main 2 teams was Influence Rage Africa and Black Tech Esports. Okay, we're not going to see them this time around. They were playing out yesterday, so that's already happened. But when it comes to the overall ability of this map and what we get to see from it, right, Picardo is quite a hotspot for it. So I'm looking for a lot of fun within this one. I'm looking to see if Gun can do what I didn't expect to see in group stage, is 3 chicken dinners. It would be insane if it's 3 back-to-back chicken dinners. That is just would be a whole nother level. But they just seem to be on fire. They seem to be not only just the most dominant team in the lobby, but you look at the rotations, it's very smart. You look at their positioning. Even the positioning that you said was strong, that they could have taken a compound, they avoided last time because they wanted to take the fights. They believe they were a better team, and so far they've proven it.
I mean, so far, Godsent, they are currently with also only 8 points away from first position. 8 points in one Miramar game and also one Erangel game. That's 100% possible. So I think they're feeling pretty confident overall. I hope they can see potentially make that happen. So we'll be looking out for them if they can try and catch up those 3 extra points. But I think that here, you should not be focusing anyways on number 1 position, because top 16 is the main goal, the main focus. They can still make it happen here. But still, 8 points is like, if you can just go to the final and say, yeah, we're also the number 1 team in the group stage, we're going to be absolutely fantastic. But with that said, you know, we're talking about what we're expecting to happen. No other better way of doing that than by jumping into the game itself. And finally, I was getting hot with my Gudra on my head. But I got my water bottle ready to go and get hydrated with the hydro homies out there. So we're going to be set and stone and going into Miramar once again. And you wanted Los Leones? You know what? The playing path is going to start right towards Los Leones. And we are going to be in a really good spot for a lot of the teams that like to drop there.
Now, when we look at this,
Mano, até que essa rota tá de boa, porra. Dá pra chegar em vários cantos.
I am going to keep an eye on what Gon want to do, where they want to try and go in this one. I also want to really see what the Magicians can do, because we've got to touch on them, the fact that they have worked their way further up. They've also made it a little bit more difficult for Slime 4KT here. We had high hopes for this team. We knew they're very capable. These last 2 games, they've not been bad, but they've also not been great. So you need a couple of these last 2 games, especially as you're getting towards the end of the amount of games you're going to play. You only have 4 after these final 2 of this day, so you only got 1 more day of play left for it. You need to start stepping up on the points, because you're not in the safe zone just yet, right? You know you're sat there in 15th place, and you go, we got still a fair amount of ground to be able to gain here. So it's a lot of points they want to be able to grab now. And there's a lot of teams who can upset you. If you go down to a team that points doesn't really benefit them too much, they're just playing it out and trying to do their best. That's less than ideal as well. You need to be grabbing some of those key points. You need to be able to find your confidence in your form, especially on these final 2 games if you're a team like Slime.
Oh, there you
go. Hey. Okay, so you got to know, just a few weeks ago, Imperio was casting a little tournament, and he actually got an island finish over to the east.
No,
like that, I have.
Same,
and I've been asking for one for, like, I've been casting PUBG Mobile for 2 years now, and I've been asking, please, one day, please, one day, PUBG Mobile, can you give me one of those circles? I would be so thankful if it would happen today. But you know what? The odds of that happening are pretty slim.
Passado, quando fiz uma partida em Miramar, a safe fechou na ilha,
We'll see exactly.
Aquilo era só tiro ao alvo. Acho que eu gravei.
Depois
vou tentar postar.
And in a compound like this, it is a pretty big compound, so you can still avoid the fight and move away. But the one tricky issue with this compound is I talked about Picardo being really good with car spawns. This compound isn't that great in terms of car spawns. They do tend to spawn on the outskirts, so that means you've got to do a lot of running to get there. So if teams want to disengage, it's going to get a little bit sticky to do so.
Now, as these teams are just looting for the very beginning part, I'm going to say, I almost had an island, and guess what happened? The team went to the island, and then it half shifted to the west away from them, and they all had to get back, and they got exploded and shot it in the water, and it was all just a messy death for them all. It wasn't ideal at all. So I got so close, Max, so close that it was going to happen, and it didn't. So maybe this is our game. Maybe we can get it, and the players are really going to hate us because we keep giving them rough circles. But I promise you, it's not us. It's definitely the game, and you're just unlucky. and you have to deal with it, boys.
Caramba, mano,
just
porra. Logo os times que eu não queria que trocassem agora que vão trocar.
This time around. Not what they wanted, considering how far behind they are.
BOPE.
That's true. I just want to indicate real quick because you mentioned the fact that we only got 15 teams in this lobby here. I do have to mention the fact that
Essa é a braba. Até o Zip Dog já puxou
played 2 games and it was on the first day. So it seemed like they have dropped out. So just something to keep in mind. No team was killed early on here. We just scored in every game with 15 players. 15 teams, should I say. So it is normal is what was happening here. And BOPE also, we got to keep in mind, they did not play, they haven't played all their matches yet. They've still got 2 to come. They are really far behind. So they are hoping to make their way back up there. So there's still 2 more games up there that can potentially think of catching up. But this is weird because Archer is very far away from his teammates, and he's just got an entire lean of players from YNK is, and they're not going to allow him to rotate and reposition. So this is already looking pretty dicey for BOPE.
And it is dicey for BOPE. Their points they've got at the moment isn't really a way to get up, and this is where we talk about teams that need to make the best of a bad situation, right? They need to just use these games in the best way possible to try and learn forward. Even if you're behind,
Marcia tá ligeira. Marcia só vai pegando informação, vai passando.
Not to me in an eyes of the position unless you start winning all your games.
E tem que ficar muito atento ao Marrobé quando notarem que se calhar ele tá solo. Creio que todo mundo vai avançar nele. Mas Duda já tá ligeiro também. Tá pegando suas informações. Porra, só tá de costa pra Marcia.
They are not alone just yet. We're going to see that YKI, your killer, is going to be close enough to them that he could be taking a fight. Manrobi seems to have a good enough idea that there's some information has been passed on to him and he needs to be careful. He's prone down already, looking to see if he can catch anyone making a mistake, see anyone running around that he might be able to take some shots at. Maybe this is where they can find some early success. But 3 versus 4, you'd have to play oh so well to be able to do it.
Yeah, it does not make things easy for them. It's very similar to what happened with 777, where they keep on coming in hot with only 3 players. So it's unfortunate. So hopefully they can get that fixed throughout the event and potentially come into their 3rd and final day with a full squad. That would be big. But I've been reading a little bit of the YouTube chat. And you guys seem to be appreciating the effort I put into my cosplay. So I got to say, for that alone, arigato. Thank you so much, guys. I'll try and get a little bit further into it. Hopefully we can get banks too. Like one day, I gotta say, just a little story time. I had a little bit of a cosplay also with a Glitz Explosion, and she had a choker, and we were making fun of her for having a choker. So I took an HDMI cable and made it a choker. That is also that. There you go. That is story time for you.
That's certainly something else. No, you touched on it before.
Calma, já foi time de lobby ou time não entrou?
They were very close to a Razor, and they both well aware that this is going on. Ghost has a really nice position if he is able to jump up and take some of the shots as they begin to escape. He is going to just see Hamzy running across. Doesn't want to jump up just yet. He gets his weapon out. He's ready for it. He wants them to give him another chance at this. If he can find some early success from some distance. They've actually, Razors have got a nice setup here. Look at the positioning. One far, it's Impulse at the back. He's got a huge high ground to play from. He can provide all the cover fire. And then we've got everyone else a little bit closer, ready to deal the damage onto it. And Fallen 5, sorry, even not Falcon, that's the other team in the other group, Fallen 5, are in a position now where they're also down a player in terms of they've only got 3 in the lobby. So, not the ideal start again. These poor teams, I feel sorry for them.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit, unfortunately. It is PMCO, it does tend to happen quite a bit at this stage, but the further we go, we'll have like 4 squads every single time, which is great to see, and full lobbies filled to the brim with players of top tier level. But that's anyways, regardless, we've got to have teams make it through PMCO regardless before that happens. It's now Fallen 5. I think they know that now there's one player that's been the eyes of Sauron in that game. They know that he got all the information the moment they move from a building to another. They're going to be spotted out, and that information is going to be fed to the entire team. So, and which is what I think was needed in the first place. They're trying to just extract themselves away from this compound. They do not want to take an early fight. I say this about every single map. If they can avoid an early fight, that's great. But Miramar is even worse because there's a huge map. There's literally no reason for that to happen. And Fallen 5 understood that, sure, we looted up, we're good to go, but actually a few shots coming on through. But I thought that was actually the right kill for you. But no, that's actually the fight happening in El Azahar, where player of BOPE actually is going to be falling down, I believe.
And that's where they need to be careful. If that
that
ends up happening, little mistakes like that is where other teams can take full advantage of it. The Razors are just going to be, for now, learning about what's going on. Ghost is still in the vantage point. I love a position like this. You've got to have great patience with it. I think that's key. We see some players, you saw the first player run across. They took the shots and then they go, oh, okay, we know where he is and we know to be playing a bit more safe. Right now, okay, Fallen 5 know that there's players around him, but he didn't take some of these warning shots, which means Ghost, if he gets a huge advantage, when he knows the timing's right, he's got that trigger discipline to take the shots where it can really matter, where some big damage can be done.
também tá rotacionando.
Some more action happening. This is on the outskirts of Los Leones over onto the east. So you know what? Banks is going to be happy about this one. He's going to get some of his main comp. Oh, it's not really in a compound, but the outskirts regardless is still going to be pretty familiar territory.
Será que viram
They're going to
ele
be
ou
taking
ele
a pretty
se
good
spotou?
engagement. Feeling APX.
Só que deles vai ter que voltar para levantar o Rusty
down
Boy.
below. But Clutch, unfortunately, of existence is split away. He was trying to be the eyes of his team, trying to scout and get some information going on forward, but he is away. But he's on such a position, it's really hard to just push him out of that position. And Clutch actually picks up a kill, 1v4. And also, I'm seeing his team in the distance. They are coming in to back him up, which is great. And Clutch can still feed that information forward to the rest of his team. So this is big. But Cole taking those shots. This is going to be a big head-on fight.
It is a big fight to be happening early on. And he's not in the most ideal position here. You can see he's checking all corners. And Clutch, oh, this is sneaky. He might be able to try and come in from above.
Banks, circle. Still got the islands.
Oh my! Oh, wait, I'm not getting too excited, Max. I'm calm down.
Yeah.
We're not.
We're adults. Yes.
Pois é, mano. We are not big children that love the chaotic circles. I promise you, I want it, but I'm not going to go too far just yet. But it's still there. If there's any team right now that want to jump to the island, you'll be doing me a great favor, and I will be thanking you and loving you for a long time. And right now, Clutch is loving life, because that was an easy kill for him to find. They tried to escape in the vehicles, and his teammates are going to have to leave him behind as he's knocked on down. So Clutch can continue to try and push on this. And this is, okay, I understand, Cole, you're wanting to get out of there, but you're actually in enough distance where you might have been able to save him at that point. But instead, you're just going to get overrun. All of existence now there. You missed the timing on it. You drove on by. I guess you're just playing replacement points. Your poor teammates just sat there going, I guess I'm just waiting. I guess this is just the end and I can hear what's going on. Exist are being smart here, though. They're checking everything. They're being careful. Reckless, bang, done, ended. You're out of here. Nice and easy. 2 kills found for him. And they're still up at 4 players. This was really well handled. It isn't super impressive. It isn't something crazy. But they
aquela trocação que eu tava a dizer, mano, poxa, não compensava muito. No final a gente só perde, tipo, os times que a gente tá apoiando. Tipo, eram 2 times que a gente tá apoiando, né? Naquela trocação.
Way where you've not taken big losses.
Yeah.
I fully agree. Overall, Clutch just knew he was in a really big disadvantage. He was able to find one great kill initially, and he's like, okay, this is still a 1v3. I'm not going to go overzealous. And he just stalled for so long, allowing his team to actually come in and back him up. Then they find an extra kill. That was super well played and overall really respectful from existence, which is what I was hoping to see. I think that kind of mentality and shot calling in general is what I've been seeing best of them so far throughout this entire PMCO. So I want to see more of that coming out from existence. Now I want to see also some good positions coming out potentially their way. But around Los Leones, another team that's going to be coming on by, that is going to be team number 8 in Africa. As they're looking, he's got a mini. He's got a good scope too.
Tá aberto, mano. Manda daí coça, é?
Gonna go for the shots. Arrow taken down to mid HP, but still going to be standing on his 2 feet.
A nice attempt, not an overcommitment from it, and they're sticking together as a team with this. They'll get the reposition on go. This is where we just need to be careful on what they want to do from here as well. Considering how the hard shift went over towards the eastern side, they've got a decision to make at the same time. I'm surprised this is still going on, by the way. Fallen 5 versus a Razor. These guys are like following each other slowly, just moving ever so gradually across. Poor Fallen 5 haven't been able to escape their clutches just yet. More shots can be rattled out towards them all. Getting in that car is risky, Hamzy. He's going to try and be able to drive away here. But I like this. The Razor are checking all their corners. They're not letting one player push too far just yet. They're going to go as a team, and they're going to go and take the fight. He was hiding behind the cactus. And Tezuka, he was trying to get the finish off in there as well. They've got to protect their teammates. But it's going to go in favor of the Razors. That is a good start for him. Despite the first player getting knocked, they kept him alive, and now they can just fall back a little bit. They know they've got the numbers advantage. They'll try and pull the revive off, and they'll try and push on forward from this. Hamzy wants to do some damage with the nades, but they're not quite connecting, and he may decide, I need to get out of here now.
So you're telling me this entire time Fallen 5 had
que azar, mano, que azar,
because of that decision, and the Eraser crew gonna pick up the juicy refrag himself. The circle goes towards Impala. Still a little bit, just a teeny wincy bit of the island still available. We'll see where it goes later on. But anyways, it's going to be now focused on Impala pretty heavily. Would be cool if we could have a little bit of a POV of the map for some time to have it zoomed in, as we would like to see where these teams are trying to enter from. But regardless, from the west, the fight is still currently unfolding. got ourselves Aphelion APX to picked up so far 0 kills and lost Blessing and Rusty Boy all along the way. So that's very unfortunate for them, where man advantage is very, very important in a game of Miramar. And Pain is just around the corner too. So this circle that's going to be shifting in phase 4 is definitely not going to be in their favor. So matters are going to get pretty worse all around. But Team BBC pushing away forwards to one player of Team YNK, and that is Ghost, and he is stranded without any backup whatsoever.
Não foi spotado.
Well, they don't know.
Meu Deus.
No, suck! Oh, he doesn't get finished off.
Não conseguiu dropar mais
yeah. So lucky right now. Oh, he didn't finish. No! Oh! I thought he didn't get finished off.
Mano, agora... achei que estaria voltar o Nazaboy e o que?
Why are we getting so much madness already with this? I'm sat there thinking, yeah, okay. Tuck, you just about survived. You're very lucky. Your teammate saved you. And then tick, tick, tick. Unlucky. That's not what they want to see.
Porra, mano, mas sobrar a dupla mais brava do time da YNK também.
But I think that this time it kind of made some players change their mindset mentality coming into this one. But overall, Pain still moving on forward, trying to move into the circle. But Slime seems like they are thirsty for blood. They want some substance. They want some nutrients. And they're going to not find it, unfortunately. As King Gaming finds them first knockdown onto Fex, as they're looking for the squad wipe onto Slime.
And Slime here, we spoke about them. They need to find some success, Max. They need to be able to fight back here. They can't afford players to go down early on. I'm not against them fighting this early, especially if they need to, but I am against them not being able to take a dominant game here today. That nade nearly finishing off Fex as well. They've got to be careful. They can't quite get into position.
Mano, parecia que o Cold tava solo nessa casinha. O Cold tava solo. Acho que deve ter deixado uma HE e eles sentaram na HE. Boa, Luiz.
Lovely shot, Lewis.
That was sick. By the way, I just want to see in the kill feed.
Não mostra como é que o Luiz deu essa bala.
There you go. In the kill feed, things are getting pretty cool. But Team UNK actually got 1v2'd by one single grenade of Cold. That's something to also keep in mind. So Team UNK, I believe they just got squad wipe purely based off of that. And now, looking at it, Yonkus, they're looking for the push. They see the smokes, but they're going to get contested by the side of Pain. So this is going to be a huge fight on the west.
Essa mola do Liz ainda deu dano.
YNK, Brenagod. Going to provide the smoke down to make sure he's got the
cover
he needs. He knows one of his teammates has already been knocked down and he wants to continue to fight it out. Lewis continuing to put up the numbers and put in work. Look at this circle. We didn't get the island, but it is still all the way far over. Down south from Impala towards the eastern side. I'm sorry, chat. We didn't get what we wanted, but we are going to get a crazy game because, look, there is not much space for these teams to fight on. If you want to take a position on the road right now, that could be something smart, and that's what the Magicians are doing. That's something they can play around because you've got good access routes as well, at least for the meantime. But you may have to move before the circle goes down smaller another step because you don't want to be cut out from that. YNK, they're up at 2 kills already. They're in a good spot. The gun, we saw them on the kill feed. They're doing damage from far, far away.
So I got a question. ATL Magicians, who did you pay to get all these circles? Every game today, they've been always having a really good circle late game. So overall, pretty impressive stuff all around. Seems like they do know how to rotate pretty central and increase the odds of the circle going in their favor. But here, Gun holding them at gun's length, and that's going to be another team that's potentially going to have a little bit of a hard encounter. Team number 10, C Esports. Fantastic rotations earlier, by the way, on Sunhawk. And here they're going to be locked in this gas station. Pretty hard for them to rotate away, especially knowing they're on the edge on the northern side of the circle that's moving in currently, making its way slowly and surely towards phase 5. But Nerf once again, the insane shots. This guy, and this guy, he's huge at this kind of range. He hits every shot so far.
He has impressed me. The whole team of Gun have impressed me. And I'm not going to get overhyped yet. There's 11 teams remaining. They've got 2 kills. But if they can keep this style of play up, they might be the first team to give us 3 chicken dinners, even if it's not in this game. I just have that much faith in them right now. The awareness, the scouting, the team play that's in full effect. So many teams are being eliminated right now. It's going to be very difficult for Gun to hold on to a position like this because they've got so many around them, but at least they're gatekeeping C for now. And C are no easy team for them to get past, but look at Slim. He's still looking for more fights. He's getting the information. He sees your killer is running on in, and he knows, okay, potentially there are 3-4 teams here now that we might have to deal with. So we have to be aware of that if we do take the fight with C.
They should already try to be looking into the future and look what are going to be opportunities available
Só
at
mais
hand
uma
for the
bala,
late
só mais uma
circles.
bala.
Ghost
Meu
spotted out by
Deus.
Fantasy.
Boa,
Yorkiller
boa.
is, and he actually gets on the final spray, so that's
Mano,
great. And Ghost was
ainda
nice
acho
to
que o time da
reposition.
Yorkiller tá
As an
meio
interceptive spot
lagado,
also,
yeah?
that's going to be an easy kill. Oh no, wait, it was stolen away. Stolen away by, I believe that was, wait, I didn't have time to see who was in a kill feed, but I believe that just got snatched away by Existence.
Boa
Okay, fair enough.
tecnologia.
You know what? Hey, you're not quick enough to secure the kill. That's your fault. We're going to snatch it. Easy point for us. Thank you so much. But, man, I'm scared. Alpha Pack, yes, they are in a really bad position. What I mean by that, they got to make it away from the edge of circle and go uphill without information at that. And when they're also getting gate-kept by the side of your killer is, getting held at bay by such a team is going to be a really big issue. So hopefully they can walk it up there, and hopefully they got a few cars. I can see on the minimap, but even with a car, that is not going to be an easy task at hand.
It's certainly not an easy task at hand.
Não vai tirar ele.
It's certainly not an easy game and an easy circle either. No matter if it went island or not, okay, it didn't go island. But this is still difficult for a lot of these teams. This is still
Essa safe vai
very
fechar
hard
pra
to deal
quem?
with.
Deixa
Exist position could be
Mano, vai
vital
fechar
right now. That's the one I'm
pro time
keeping
da
a keen
Exist,
eye on, because
provavelmente.
they've got all the vision around them.
Pois é.
They have to be careful of the team swarming from the distance.
Time
The
não tem lá
circle now
bom
has moved away from
posicionamento,
the
yeah?
magicians.
Não sei que
It's
ele
gone up
comece já a andar
towards the
agora.
northeastern side right now. And this is going to be interesting for Gun to have to fight on in, because they still haven't dealt with C.
And ATL Magicians, this is what it feels like not being gifted a circle. There you go.
time
You're
da
actually going to have to
Yorkiller
move. I know it can be
provavelmente
hard,
veio
but
mais-
anyways, they're going to have to do
Veio
so.
mais
This
abate
is
em
great.
relação às
This is
5
really,
partidas que
really,
ele
truly great
fez.
when you're looking at
Só
for
nessa
the side of Alpha
partida.
Pack. Now they don't have to move away too much. They also got a
Time
good
da
ridge line, by
Yorkiller.
the way, straight up north of the road. If they can get access to that position, not only will they see all the teams coming in from the west, but also potentially hold at bay the teams coming from the south, especially ATL Magicians. Hopefully they see that opportunity and try and move there first. And if they get positioned there initially, that could be a great opportunity for them to get an on-year win, but also their first win in this African PMCO. The fight's still rolling on through as Vile once again with a mini 14, trying to pop some heads, but no heads go flying just now.
C cannot escape though. Every position around them is locked down. Vile's dealing the damage onto their vehicles at the same time. He does get tagged up and dropped down. That could be problematic. He maybe went too far there, and I don't think a revive is going to be able to come in. I don't think they've got enough time to get this done, but this may allow C the chance to escape. The teammates, you might want to help him out a bit there, mate.
Caralho, ainda conseguiu dar spray.
Boa
Fantasy, caralho. É isso, mano.
Yumi's like, wait for me. I need to get in the back, please. Oh my, that got crazy real fast. He was so close, they definitely could have got in. A little bit of communication error may be coming into full effect there. And see, you've got no kills at this point. You've made it into the top 9, but you want to push a stretch further. And Ellie and Yumi, they've got a lot of work they need to do.
See esports actually able to hit those shots while driving. You might not realize how hard that is, but that is mental to actually hit on a regular basis. Normally Chinese players are the teams that tend to do that really good, but man, that was still some impressive shots from C esports. But they still got to move on forward. They still got the circle to get into, and if they do not, the blue zone's going to be there. Your killer is just like, I'm just going to be cruising on through into Gun, and that's potentially the biggest mistake you could ever make, as one of their players is going to get taken down, and Fantasy is out of the lobby.
Oh my, this is incredible stuff.
Mas tá bom. Nada mal, mano. Pegou bastante abates ainda.
Oh, it doesn't quite finish him off. A nice
Só
bit
que
of
também
damage
tinha mais
though.
outro sítio pra se direcionar.
He's trying to snake on forward. That blue's catching up with Ellie. I don't like his chances as well.
Já o time YNK já conseguiu pegar safe. Luiz acaba de cair pra
Another nade
HE.
going out. He's really trying to pull this off. Slim's also found the kill though, so that's going to be nice. The knocks are going to be able to at least finish him off. The grenades aren't going far enough to make sure the damage happens. How long can they keep this up for? I know they've got the ridge line, but like, you can't snake your way through to it.
Ele vai caindo pra zona eletromagnética.
It's really going to be a hard one. They're trying to get it over to that broken wreck of a car. Potentially, that could be the if they can get access to it. But still, they got only 40 seconds to go, and then the circle is going to be engulfing them into their holy grasp, and it's going to be ticking down pretty quickly. Especially phase 5 going into phase 6 is going to be the one where you don't really want to remain in the blue zone for too long. No amount of meds kits will help you up against that, unfortunately. Existence, though, I do truly believe their best game so far. They've been proactive, they've been taking fights, been still respectful when they did not have the advantage. This is truly their best game yet in this entire PMCO run.
Caralho,
Let's
mano,
see if they
Breno
can
tá
now
bem
convert
close,
that into
yeah?
a big win and take those 50 positioning
foi
points.
spotada
But
agora.
YNK's getting into a big fight with Slime, and Slime start off with a good knock.
Boa, Luiz. Boa.
But is it going to be
Acredita,
enough
mano. Dá
here
pra
for
ganhar essa
Slime?
play.
Vex,
Porra, só que
he's
eles estão com a
down, but he's
metade
not
da
out of
vida,
it
yeah?
just yet.
Já aí tem
There's
apenas
plenty of
30
smoke
HP,
covering
mano.
him.
gajo já vai dar bastante dano.
But aim has been knocked as well. Oh, Slime, it can't be like this. Not again. They're fighting back a little bit here. Pronto's able to pick up the knock, but he's having to back away for now. He's going in for the fights. Bugger wants to take some shots at the escaping vehicles in front of him. Everyone is just full. Dangerous, my friend. Magicians are there right in front of you. Oh my God.
É isso, porra. Vai, acredita. Finaliza. Boa.
What is he doing?
Boa. Pega o
Really pushing him when you die hard.
That tree should have fallen apart with the amount of bullets that have gone through it.
Meteu o louco,
That he put on out. Is it going to even provide cover for him, though? I don't think it is. I think it just fell down too far. Yeah, it's just missed him by the edge of it.
What was... We're watching a James Bond movie, I'm sure about it. That was one of the most insane stunts in the game I've seen in a while. For sure, and he's still alive at that. That is potentially huge. He has contested away the position of ATL Magicians, but ATL Magicians pulled off the rest. He's still up as a two-man squad, so now Jebot not having that man advantage anymore, so he's still going to have a lot of effort to go through, but the smokes denying that visibility away from ATL Magicians. It is so well executed. He was given an opportunity, and he is seizing that one open-handedly. Let's see if there's going to be enough to potentially convert that one into a win. That would be great coming out from this team, but still so many nades coming out in Existence, still fragging out so dominantly, but now they got to go downhill. They still got Aero and Clutch down below, but will there be enough to allow the entire team to make it? Eraser Crew in the distance, pop it off instantly, and Eraser Crew get eliminated.
The Razor Crew down and out now. Who's the next one to fall? Exist. They were in such a good position. Slime is still fighting it out with 2 players down already. And 1 now, not Fugger is not going to have a chance. It was 3 kills and a 5th place. It's not bad. It's much better than what Slime has shown us throughout today. But it's YNK that are continuing to push on forward and pick up the pieces and pick up the kills. 9 alive, but 4 teams remain. And Jebot, I'm just surprised he's still alive, Max.
If he wins this game, I will not know how to react. This would be the biggest deal. And ATL Magician got eliminated. We didn't have the camera on that, so I do not know how that happened. But if Jebot actually took that 1v2, that is also extra impressive in my eyes. That means he basically solo squad wiped the entirety of ATL Magician. So that's so damn impressive coming out from Jebot, from the Yonkus. The Yonkus, they've been looking out for it. I'm a big One Piece fan, so I would be happy to see them take a big fat win. But they're still going to make it downhill, and that's going to be for the side of Aphelion 8PX. Oh, no, sorry, Alpha Pacquiao, should I say, as they're going to make their way down. They still got the snipers, but the circle is not going in their favor. Actually, no one is in circle, and this is ending up on a dip on the ridgeline. This is one of the worst positions to end up a circle with. Because you just do not know who's going to take the win at the end.
Pro centro, porque ele já tem informação que tem por ali.
Really difficult.
A intenção provavelmente vai ser como o Jay, que tá aí por baixo.
On forward into it, they're going to be out in the open. Now I see some car movement. This is
prepara,
interesting.
filho. Acredita.
Clutch, is he going to try and get the crate in the smoke?
Boa. Esse também facilitaram, é?
As the vehicles barrel out around
facilitaram. Ele já foi spotado.
He spots out Ellie. He gets the shot and he gets the knock. Beautiful stuff. Great awareness. They're up at 11 kills. It's just Reckless and Clutch, but they've had great positions. They've been fighting from start to finish here.
Já é isso fica duro, mano. Ou pega a negativa da praia e ainda tá safe.
With the cover of the crate.
Sou marota, deixa ele se matar, mano. Se tiver kit, boa.
Oh, no, he did!
Falhou. Faz HE, mano.
This poor guy, just on the nick of time, he tries to line the shot up perfectly, but now Abel is well aware of his position.
Boa, Jair.
He thought he could get it done. Jebot's still picking up kills. How is that possible? This man is solo one-man army.
Meu Deus, já porra, a gente tá brincando com ele, já.
But there's still 2 more players for him to deal with, and Reckless needs to provide some cover fire for him now.
What? Existence from 0 to 100 real quick. By the way, I do have to mention Existence before this game went 23rd. They could make it top 16 purely based off of this, but Clutch, no, that's too many good shots from you, my dude. You're gonna get denied.
Dropou mais
still
outro.
Alpha Pack. They were after the
Mano, ainda pode dar bom pra nós aí.
And it's still that one player of your
Boa, filho! Confia, porra! É um X1, mano!
He's a one-man army!
Você ganha essa, mano! É um X1, não tem como.
He's picked up on his own.
Lembra da regra, mano.
7 kills out of the 10 for his team.
É um X1, chega, é nossa, mano.
One mission to kill them all. He sent it in a car down to the ridgeline, and now he's technically in a 1v1.
É um X1, GG é pra nós, mano. Esquece, bota na minha conta. GG é pra nós.
His teammate here.
GG é pra nós. Pode confiar.
You had such a strong position and advantage. You sent it in the cars. You almost managed to get it done.
GG pra nós.
But Jebot, He's just sat there. Oh, he sees him.
Ah,
Takes
mano,
the
é o
shots.
muro, yeah?
The backpack was sticking out. That tree,
GG,
it's not
vai,
big
vai,
enough.
vai,
More
confia,
damage
pode
done
rushar,
towards
pode
him.
rushar.
Yeah, but full confidence. He's going for it
Vai,
once again. This man
confia,
is
é
an
nossa.
unstoppable machine. A PUBG mobile beast pushing his way on for the win. They try
Ai,
to spot each other.
mano!
Oh, he doesn't get it. He
Caralho!
tries, but he fails right at the end.
M16
And
já?
AP
Porra!
grabbed the win.
Quase!
That was. I was sad we were not going to get an island finish, but you know what? That finish right there made up for it entirely. That was one hell of a way to close off the Miramar game one. Normally have the most passive maps, but that finish one of the most insane ones. And Jebot, you asked it earlier here, Banks. How many frags do you think he got? He got 8 kills, and I do believe that means he did get the 1v2 against ATL Magicians. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe that means he made a 1v4 versus ATL Magicians. We'll have to have a replay later on to check exactly if that is true, but I believe Jebot did indeed take a 1v4 clutch up against ATL Magicians after the wildest play I think that happened so far in this tournament. So that's mental. But not only that, great play from AlphaPack coming down to this one, really taking good control in the finishing moments to make sure they can secure that game. Also, the side of YNK getting some real clutch plays with Jebot, but also Existence. I mentioned this from the very start, from day one. I wanted to see Existence step up a lot more, and this game was really their golden opportunity, and they seized that one so well, not only by positioning and rotating properly, but their fragging power was insane, and especially the sniper shots. Like the sniper shots from them from that high ground position on the M24 were just out of this world. So the top 3 fully deserved by all the teams up there.
M16, tava no cano.
That was
Nem no
exciting.
single tava,
yeah.
Pra ter dado aquele dano todo. Deixa eu ver aqui o time. Pois é, mano. Entra no top 10, não tem como.
Mad confidence, the amount of kills he picked up, he was going to be able to have it.
Tá quase. Mais uma partida, mano. Manter a mesma consistência, dá pra subir pelo menos até o... Pra tá o top 5 já.
Risen up, Max. 8th place now. They're sitting pretty. Okay, it's not 100% confirmed they'll be through, but this is looking damn good for them at 73 points. And poor Slime 4K, it looked like it was going to be a game where they had a lot of chances, a lot of opportunity, but they still couldn't make it work. They're in the top 16. It's still fine. It's still good, but it's not comfortable enough to be sitting pretty and say, yes, we've made it.
Like Slime are slipping away. It's very unfortunate because they're playing extra games and actually not able to get extra rankings, and they're on 15th position. This is a very slippery slope for them. But also, you just mentioned YNK's making an 8th position. I do have to mention, before this game, YNK's were in 17th position. They were just barely potentially making it back into the top 16. And this is a huge jump. They jumped an extra 8 rankings in total. So this is fantastic.
Acho que o time da AOK também subiu algumas posições depois daquela. Se bem que o tipo, acho eu que estava oitavo, mas ainda pegou alguns abates. Mais 6 kills, se não tem erro.
Now trying to head on over to the second page of these rankings and see what we're dealing with. And Existence, there we go. Also in the exact same position where YNK's were before that last game. One good game.
Agora você tá acordando, mano. Tem que pegar kill.
That is where you have to be. And not only them, but AlphaPack. Where were they before this one? AlphaPack. AlphaPack were 25th. This is the redemption arc. This Miramar game allowed 3 teams that initially were struggling to climb back up and maybe have a chance to make it into the finals. This was huge for so many teams in this lobby.
Now, when we come into this lobby, right, and we looked at what might be on offer, I was saying about all the names we've seen right at the top in there, but I have been pleasantly surprised by Exist. I have been pleasantly surprised by what we just see alone by Yonkers there, by Jebot, sorry, because not only did he just take it in the car, you would question that all day long, wouldn't you? That he sent it in the car, he walked straight into Magicians, you think, okay, it's do or die. He individually handled all of them. I'm really lost for words, Max, and I don't find that often. We're commentators. We're always talking like, but this was just really good. This was unexpectedly good from these guys. And with Existence now being in a spot where they now sit in 17th place, I feel like if they can just put up a bit more like that, right, a few more numbers, we saw some key shots being hit, there might be a good opportunity for them to continue to rise up in this. Okay, there's only one more game for today. I just love when we cut to the cameras and I see you looking like this. It just makes me smile. And yeah, okay, we keep going forward with it. There's only one game for these guys, but there's still 5 games in total for them. So anything can happen. And that's the magic of this kind of format.
It is, and we've seen the teams then rise up to the occasion and really put themselves in such a good position. And we are having exactly what we mentioned at the start of the show here, Banks. The fact that because you had 10 teams down in that bottom 16 that only played 4 games beforehand, and because all of these teams now actually catching up and having almost 8 games, just one more game to go before we get to that point, you had some big shifts, some big changements, and teams like Saint now that were initially at the start of the day, like really close to top 16, that they fell down heavily. They're currently in 25th, and so many teams are unfortunately watching these games, can't do anything because they're not playing today. And like, well, we really need to put some extra pieces of effort going into our final day. So this is making some teams really happy, and unfortunately making some of the other teams that aren't playing today a little bit stressed out. And I fully understand that, because here I cannot act on this, and I can only act on, or is it going to be day 6 or day 5, depending on when you're playing. So things are getting a little bit dicey, a little bit scary, I do believe, for a lot of these teams. But also, this is just a big bit of fresh air going to be taken by a lot of these teams, especially the ones that perform really good in that top 3, to, okay, we made it close to top 3. Now we just got to remain consistent throughout the entirety of our results, and we're just going to solidify our position in top 16, which group stage, it doesn't matter if you're top 1, top 2, top 3. Sure, there's an extra flex you can do at school. That's okay. But you need to make it into the finals. The moment you make it into the finals, now that's when you aim for those top 3s. That's when you have to close off games.
Yeah, that's where you have to bring that whole other level of it. And I'm just looking at this, right? I'm looking over towards the results. So we saw Gun. They sat in a position where they've had 2 back-to-back chicken dinners, then still a respectable...
Foi quase, mano. Foi quase, mas belíssima partida do time YNK, belíssima partida do Zay. Caralho.
And we still got one more match on a wrangle to come their way, where they found their initial success coming into it. So what we're going to do is look for more success going into wrangle. But first of all, we need to take a quick break. We're going to just chill for a few moments. We're going to catch our breaths. I think Maxman needs to let out some of the heat and the steam that he's got wrapping up underneath him. And we'll be back in just a few moments.
Rapaz, jogou muito, mano. Ao todos em 3 partidas ele fez quase 17 abates, se não tem erro. Deixa eu ver, fazer os cálculos rápidos aqui, mano. 8 nessa, 3 na de Sanok. Já são 11 mais 5 em Ragel. 16 kills em 3 partidas. Porra. Boa, boa. Boa média, 16 kills em 3 partidas. Uma pontuação de 5.3, quase. 0.32, quase isso. 0.33. 5.33, aliás, está a dizer um ponto. Caramba, isso mais é pra que esses efeitos ali? Tá no PUBG Mobile, mas quando colocar mamo de PUBG de PC. Sério, não morreu. PUBG Mobile.
We're back and we've got one more game to take you through today. We're going all the way back to Erangel. We've been through the jungle. We have then been through the crazy sandstorms. And now we're going back into the calm before the storm. And that storm is coming tomorrow because we still got 2 more days after this as well. Plenty more PMCO action for all of you to see. And today, the storylines have been crazy. We spoke about these teams needing a certain amount of points. And I'm going to start on one thing. And I know my boy Mamba, he's probably watching in the chat, the team manager of Slime 4K, but you guys need some more points. You need to grab them now. This game is really so important. And now every game you can say is important when it comes to it. But like, they've dropped down. They're standing within the top 16. But now you need to solidify yourself with a few more points because you're running out of games. They've literally got 5 more games left of this. And it's not like they're playing bad, but they're just not getting high enough up on these placements alongside the kill points with it to really push themselves far enough to be in the safety zone just yet. And that's where everyone wants to be. Like, what number do you say the safety zone is? Because like, I normally look around and say the 90 to 100 mark, and you're like, okay, pretty much there's only a certain amount of teams that can grab that. You should be very clear. But I feel like if you're in like the 80s onwards, then there may be the safety in it by the end of the whole thing.
Yeah, I was about to say 85 to, like, I would say around 85 points would be the bubble overall. Normally I have John Allen just really good. He always like this big wild calculations, and he's like way better in math than I am. And he like brings like these like super high tier calculations and says the bubble's exactly going to be 53. And then we go into the tournament and it's the team that barely qualifies 53. That's like mental stuff. So it would be cool if we had him. I might ask him a few questions after this to make sure. But usually he's the math guy when you want to ask him some stuff for PUBG Mobile. But otherwise we're talking about point bubbles. Here, if you want to be safe in general, we want to be around top 8. Here, you're looking at the side of Slime, the team you just mentioned. They're currently in 15th position. They got 1 more game to go. They got 58 points. They're really close to like all the teams above him. So if they get one really good game, they could climb from just 15th position to 8th. It's literally possible in just one single game. It is possible, but they need to be top 3, even I would say top 2 minimum if they want to secure that from happening. But overall, yeah, I fully agree with what you said there, Banks, that Slime has been a little bit absent today. They showed some really big promises, especially with the likes of, Storm doing so good on that Miramar game just a few days ago. But now they've just been a little bit absent, not really present in the mind and in the flesh. So hopefully in this final game, they're going to reformat themselves, get themselves a little bit of a better kickoff into the game. It is back to Erangel regardless. And they had some really good early game rotations, I do believe, on that first Erangel game today. And they were in a really good spot, but they were rotating early on the early game, super quick. And after that, they just fell off and started rotating pretty slow, and they were getting gate kept super easily. So I would like to see a little bit more consistent speed in terms of, you rotate quick early game and you also rotate quick into the late game stage, and you might be in a real better position. But I'm not only looking for Slime 4KT. I got a few other teams I'm going to be looking out for, especially Team BBC. We haven't seen this team too much. Currently, they're standing in 24th position, and this has to be the team that today I have seen the least of, which is super surprising because they were so explosive on their first day, but today is not much happening for them. So a little bit surprised to understand why that's happening, because I think they haven't changed much, but yet it's just not working.
No, it's not working. And this is the thing. You look at teams that try and they can be a bit hit and miss with it. And I agree with what you said about BBC. We saw them being able to take some nice engagements. They didn't play like, it wasn't sloppy, but yeah, I haven't really even seen them. I think I remember them once on Erangel, and that was about it. Like, other than that, they're not even sticking in my mind for some of these games. When I'm looking at teams that are sticking in mind, okay, Gun, we've covered them. They've had the 2 chicken dinners. That's fine. But you're now going to look at YNK, right? After that, just an almost solo heroic play to take the win. That was incredible. YKI have been up there as well. Been seeing a lot of good stuff from them. I would also say when it comes to it, that like BOPE sit in my mind of being, okay, very unlucky, but also they're playing from behind in many situations. And I always see them in terms of rotations, it's looking smart, but it's actual engagements they've not been able to have on a good level. And that's something that they're going to have to fix. And it may be too late because of how far behind they are on the rankings, but it's now about, okay, what do we adjust from here? Make the most of it. We keep coming back to it. It's not just about, okay, you're out. It means you've got no hope ever. You can use all of these games to give you the best practice possible at the highest level. And that's what the PMCO is, right? It's the qualifying point for a lot of these teams to show their stuff and show them that they're capable of being some of the best teams within their own region.
Brought up the point of the side of BOPE, and I fully agree with that. And we got one perfect example for that is actually the game of Sanhok. We go just a little bit back memory lane, and we remember that game in Sanhok that they dropped towards Ruins. entered through the western side, and it was such a good rotation. Everyone was like, damn, they can easily make into the circle without even taking a fight. And the very first fight they take, boom, eliminated. They lack that fragging power. You know what? It's sponsored by Reno 5G, so maybe can use those to make and improve your gameplay just a little bit if you want to. There you go. That'll make them happy. Regardless, I think that would be a good way for them to potentially go for it, is just focus a lot more on their team play. We saw Saint do that, and their fragging power improved drastically from day to day. And I think that this is another team, BOPE, is in a very similar situation where they need to increase that team fight potential. Play together, get those sneaky off angles. We saw teams do it so good in the few games we had today so far. So I think that, going after today, sure, they're still in a really scary position. Scary position, this is really, this is horrible. They're in 30th. They're 2 points away from last position. So here, if they're going to change something, it needs to be a drastic change. And not only will allow them to get consistent points, here they not only need to be consistent, they need to catch up. And to catch up, what you need is third positions on a regular basis. You need to do what Gun did on the first day to get back up there. If you just get decent games, that's not going to cut it. That is not going to be enough. So hopefully BOPE has it in them to try and improve over time and make it back into the top 60. But with that said, that is enough chit-chat for us. We're going to make our way. Well, we're still going to keep chit-chatting, but in a game this time, we're going to go into it. We're going to be diving onto game numero 4, and that is going to be on good old Orango once again. Round top of South Africa Island, we had Team YNK drop there. That's going to be great for them.
Oh, it is going to be great for them if it is a possibility of where the circle may go in the end. We already had an almost military-based game that could have potentially been there, but this plane path, okay. It's going to make it slightly harder for the teams that want to go over towards Hospital or Georgia Pole. But in general, it's not going to be the end of the world, just a slightly bigger map that maybe longer term you have to take to it and how you get to it. For our Novo teams, we know we've had a couple. It's not an issue at all. So we'll have to wait and see how it all pans out. I'd like to know maybe some teams, because I see it sometimes when you get a plane path like this, some of the teams that go up towards Georgia Bowl even just decide to go to a secondary spot. So maybe that'll be the case. Maybe not. We'll have to wait and see how it all pans out for these guys.
I'm really interested with the decision-making from the likes of ATL Magicians, also Yonku, especially Yonku, because ATL Magicians, we mentioned it, they did drop around Quarry Ferry Pier, so they're not going to get too far out of that one, so they're going to actually go for the bridge up west. But here, if you want to drop in this position where, for example, Yonku are, and you want to imagine making your way up to George Pole, the car spawns from around Quarry, Gatka Fields, Ferry Pier. Primorsk got some good car spawns, but around that position entirely, the car spawns are pretty rare and random, so it's not great to put your entire playstyle around it. So it seemed like we're not even going to go for it. I thought they were going to go because they dropped so early, but no, they're just going to commit to South Africa Island. So there's going to be currently, I would say, 3 teams and a half. You got ATL Magicians are a little bit split all over the riverside. But regardless, we're going to have this plane coming on through. A lot of teams over to the east and so much room up northwest. I would love to see some teams maybe see this as a great opportunity to move quickly in circle and finish your looting there. I truly think that would be a great thing to do because purely based off of the plane path, that the odds of teams being up north or over to the west are super slim. So if you want to get a great central position early on, I would even rotate now. I would pick up a car, pick up some good tier 1, tier 2 loot if possible, go straight in there and finish your looting in Gatka Fields or potentially close to Pachinki. That's what I would do personally, but intrigued to see if teams will maybe get to that conclusion and do so.
Yeah, this is where you have teams that might be a bit... Some early shots going to be fired off. I like the reaction from Beast there. So, was that the Yonkers? Yeah, it looked like they were the ones that drove by. I'm seeing a bit of a pixelator trying to read the words, and they've driven back. Are you going to... What are we doing now?
They're hungry. They want it.
I like this. Yeah, they're smelling blood and they're thinking, maybe you don't have weapons. Maybe we just charge you down and we'll blow you up early. That'd be a huge loss for Yonkers, but they have picked up at least 3 out of their 4 members in here. It's only Brennergod who is yet to be found. And again, look at this. Fallen 5. They always seem to be close to someone no matter how this goes down. They're always having a little poke and a peek that might get into an early fight here. And at least they're well aware of it for now.
Yeah, they're going to be cautious. Hopefully, Fallen 5 are going to be a little bit careful of how they decide to engage this one because, once again, this is a team that keeps on spawning just like 777 with only a 3-man team. So I'm just hoping that they're going to be respectful about this one. They are going to be really close to another team nearby, so I hope they're going to get it into them to not take that fight versus Alpha Pack that just went off a high in that last game of Miramar. They took themselves their very first chicken dinner throughout the entire event. So hopefully more games to come like that for them. They definitely showed up, especially also able to close off that game in really big style. But now... going to ship on over to Lipovka, over to the eastern edge, and that's going to be 2 teams over here. Is going to be Your Killer Is, also joined up by Aphelion APX, but they are pretty spread away from each other, especially when you're looking at it. Aphelion APX, they're all surrounding the players of Your Killer Is, but they got to be very cautious because every angle could be your doom. So they're going to be
Yeah.
very cautious of where they decide to position.
Ooh.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah. Over
Yes.
it goes. Dog moves. Oh, close, but went over the wall by the looks of it. Renegade actually got finished off, as we can see on the kill feed here. So that's less than ideal for him. He wasn't able to get back with his teammates in time. And that's going to be a problem. Zipdog goes back to his same position. Oh, Jebot, no, he's also been taken out on low health. PN really did take the fight to him, didn't they? They chased him down on that buggy.
Oh my God.
Chapo needs to be careful. Jebot, he's very good in these duels, but he's not good enough to take down two this time around. A slight battle in there, and it does pay off for the PN boys. I'm just impressed. They went on the hunt so early on, didn't they? They went for that fight. They saw them driving. And it was funny because Yonkers drove at them, right? And they said, oh, we're going to ride at you. And then afterwards, they were like, nope, you know what? We're going to turn around and chase you around, and we're going to try and take you down.
Overall, I don't fully disagree with that. I think that normally I would usually say that is not a great. I know I might keep that thought for a little bit as they're getting really close over here in Lebovka, these two teams, and the shots will indeed get exchanged.
And these shots are being exchanged not in the favor of AE. They're going to sit back for now. Cold is down, limping alongside Rusty Boy. Blueston, he's hoping he'll be have the time to get the revive off, but Zipdog, he's got other ideas about it all. Cage, where is he at this position? Okay, he's not too far away behind the wall, behind the containers. There we go. But he's kind of pinned down as well. Method's got his number. It's the timing on this. He's going to be overwhelmed. He's going to be run down. Zipdog trying to get the finish off, and he does start with one. There's another player just desperately trying to hide. They're going to try and pull off the revive at the same time, as Cage might be able to provide some cover fire at least. Zipdog, he's a bit cautious because he doesn't have the best health. And no, they don't go at the same time, so they've allowed a chance here for AE to fight back into it. And Zipdog, that was your time to strike. If they pull off the revive, you could be in for a world of hurt here. Zipdog pushing on forward. He hears it, and he didn't have much health. Beautiful work here from AE. They're playing it smart. Method's into the fight as well, and he certainly needs to be careful, but they're getting the finish-offs in as well. YKI, they've lost Fantasy. The other two, they're down, ready to be revived. But Method, he has no idea where Cage is. Maybe he starts to hear it now. Now he's got the information. He knows what's up, and he knows what could be going down. But with only the Mac in hand, is it even going to be enough? Oh! Close range, Cage, Cronin, Cage, maybe tempting fate here. He will be going down in the end. They put up a good fight. A few wrong decisions from YKI made this into a position that it was that scary for them. They may have not lost Fantasy if they communicated a bit better there, I'll be honest, Max.
That was a really long fight, I have to say, Lebovka. That took ages to close off. That was an entire 1-minute fight. But you know what? At the end of the day, the off angles of your killers are going to be rewarding them with an extra 4 kills. Sure, Fantasy got taken down initially, but they were the team that initially in that fight were in a lot of trouble because they were surrounded from like every corner in that position by players of Aphelion and APX, and yet they were able to deal with it properly and lose only one player throughout a fight that I thought initially they were going to lose. That is still a big win. So congratulations, and for that, Aphelion and APX will be out of the lobby in 15th position, and only 50 players are now alive. But now, I can finally go back to the point I was going to say initially, without damn, I feel like it was years ago. But the point I had was Pain, and you said like, oh, you thought they was a little bit weird why Pain were actually chasing the frags early on. I think that's great, and normally I would say that is not a good thing, but the reason why I think this is great for Pain is because they're currently in 18th position. They need to get as many points as possible because it's do or die for them. They're in a position that if they can get those extra 1-2 kills like it happened there, that could make the difference between them qualifying for the finals or not making it there whatsoever. So I think that overall, they took a risk, sure, but the risk paid off in the sense that they picked up an extra 2 points and they're still in the game and made it easier for them to maybe close off the game as they took down one of the top teams that we had so far in these games. So I think that overall, Pain, if that was their thought process at least, I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think that they deserve respect for that decision-making alone because they did take a risk, and it paid off. So when you take a risk and it works out, I got to say, hey, hats off to you. It worked out as you planned. But Gun, what did not work out as planned is Slim got taken down really early on by a player of Existence, and Existence are feeling so confident today, taking teams even up against Gun. This is great.
It certainly is great. Not so great for Gun, though, because Slim, he's been putting in the work for these guys. We've been impressed with what we've seen from him so far. And we'll see them on the back foot quite early on in a game like this. definitely going to keep my eye on Existence to see what they can do. Like you said, they're willing to take the fights. They're finding their form and their confidence again. There's this next circle where we're going to go. We're going to go back to normality in a game of a wrangle.
Yeah.
Pretty much so. We're up towards the middle side, slightly over towards the western side. And for the
Rapaziada, voltei, mano. Foi resolver uns BO aí. Calma. Estamos de volta.
Around Quarry, but they're actually in a position where the west side is very open for them. Look how contested it's going to be in the north, south, and east parts here. So many teams remaining.
Bem, pra já vamos lá ver como é que tá essa nossa safe zone. Não sei quantos times ainda estão na partida, quais são os times que já estão a se movimentar logo. A nossa safe vai fechando bem. Bem ao centro do mapa, né? Quase. Pegando um pouquinho a base militar. Porra, mano. O time da York ele tá fazendo o que aí no gás essa hora? Tem que rotacionar logo. É o time da BOPE novamente tri. Infelizmente não tem como tá a jogar full squad.
And there's so many little high ground hilltops, little nick and crannies, and also small buildings and compounds to hold on to.
Mano, a situação pra já ainda não tá boa pro time BOPE. Acho que tá na 30ª posição, na 29ª. E a situação ainda não tá boa. O time da York ele também tá fazendo uma excelente partida, mas agora tá desandar um pouquinho, conseguiu acordar no mapa de Miramar, mas tem que fazer a rotação nessa queda, até que nós está caindo pro gás, mano. Porra, Zip Dog também caindo pro gás, what the fuck?
One wheel popped. He's gonna make it slowly to gun.
Mas calma aí, rapaziada, vocês estavam há bastante tempo. O time do York, será que tava trocando naquela direção de Milta Power? Para eles estarem a cair assim para a zona eletromagnética.
Are looking up towards the hills in front of them. And it's C. One thing that's impressive with C, they're in a good position overall in the rankings right now.
Yeah, mano, até que nós já cair pro gás.
They are willing to go into battles no matter where they're sat around the map. I feel like every time we come to them, they've been in a position which is respectable they can work from.
Porra, é foda, é.
Spot where they can take some of the kills and Zip Dog just went down to the play zone. Didn't expect that.
Man.
What is going on for your killer is today?
I know that because we did see on the circle when it did pop for a few seconds on going into phase 2, they were still in Lipovka. So
estavam, né? Por isso que eu não estava a entender, tipo, daquele atraso, até porque estavam a trocar no gás e ficaram sem bandagem, mas ainda... Eu não sei se caiu todo mundo, mas ainda não caiu todo mundo, ainda deve ter o Fantasy. Ou o Siphon, se o Siphon substituir uma Doda. Caso não tiver o Siphon, deve estar uma Doda. E essa seria a única explicação, que eles estavam a tretar e não tiveram mais suprimentos, nem bandagem, nem kit. Mano, tô constipado, depois tá fazendo muito frio. Ei, filho. Essa iria para os highlights, se acertasse essa bala, Se acertasse.
That's what happens when you're the king of the hill. You get the advantage position to try and fight from.
No break for the strong, unfortunately for them, but we have this.
Ok, o Fantasy já foi.
Almost at center of the circle, he's just a little bit off over to the east. Overall, this is great for just scouting purposes.
Tá vendo? Só uma Doda mesmo para tentar fazer a play.
Só uma Doda. Should be having a somewhat normal circle, hopefully. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'll have to take that one back. We still have a lot of water in play in this one.
Calma, o time Yonko perdeu o Luiz, perdeu o Jair. Mano, esse posicionamento aí não tá favorável pro time Yonko, a não ser que eles vão rotacionar nadando. Porque passando de carro aí vai ser um pouquinho complicado. Dificilmente o time da YNK faria, aliás, deixaria que eles passassem assim safe do safe. Vala que ele vai dropando o Nerf. O Nerf queria novamente jogar aí nesse local onde ele estava a jogar, porra, no mapa de Rangel. A primeira queda ele fez uma excelente partida, acho que pegou 8 abate o Nerf. SLR dele cantou, SLR do Nerf. Já viu. Disse, bota a cara. Caralho, tomou capa já.
But it's Aimless who battles back against him. You got to be careful, my friend, because BBC are willing to take the fight against you this time. And Plaza, he's just running, trying to escape for his life.
I think the team BBC were hearing us during the breaks and they want to see us.
Como é que é, ô Mauro? Tens treinado? Ou deixaste de jogar ainda por enquanto? Já compraste um novo telefone?
I think that these two players have been able to do some really good plays when it comes down to it, but into the late game stage, that's where they tend to struggle
Mano, esse
from
time
time to time,
aí,
so hopefully they'll
o
be good to
time
go.
6,
They've been
porra,
still
tá
really
fazendo uma
respectful, despite
partida
being a four-man
também.
team. They know that
Fez a
this compound
dobradinha,
is really
venceu na
hard
primeira
for
queda,
a
venceu na
simple reason.
segunda.
It's not really
E
one
veio para
compound,
repetir a
it's like
mesma
two
façanha, estás a ver?
small
Tipo,
compounds
estava
really, really
posicionado
close to each
nesse,
other. So
aliás,
there's no
nesse
easy way
local
to
onde eles
just
se encontram. É como se
roll
fosse
on
um
over
déjà
or
vu.
just drive over there or even walk over there.
Yeah,
And
só que
if you
dessa
want to
vez
use
agora
smokes to
perde
make
o
it over
nerf,
there,
vai
that's
ser
going
bem
to be basically
complicado
all your
também.
utility gone, and you want to keep that for the late game. So I respect the fact that here Team BBC, despite knowing
O
for a fact
aimless
they
tá
got that man
ligeiro, yeah.
advantage, they're not going to
Só
cross over
tá
because
espreita.
going from where they are to make it to where Gun is currently is quite a little bit of an adventure, and it can be a little bit hard if you don't have the, I would say, the utility to back it up. So overall, I think that Team BBC just not being overzealous
14
is a
time
really good
ainda,
showcase of their
46
mindset coming in
players.
this fourth and final game for today.
Now from this position, we can still see that Slime right on the edge of the circle now, just trying to use
Yeah,
the
jogo
advantage to
scream
scope
básica, mas
one
nada
in,
demais, continua.
see
Mas
what they
como
might
é
be
que
able to
tá?
find.
Tipo, continuar, mas
21
consegue
kills
jogar
so
de
far,
boa, né?
still
Tipo,
early
fazer
going,
uma
just
boa
about coming
partida,
towards the
mesmo no
15-minute
endgame,
mark.
ainda o telefone
It's the musicians that are just further down
consegue
in front of
desempenhar o
them.
seu papel.
And they're being cautious because they know they don't want to lose these vital points on a game like this. We spoke about it already. They've not grabbed all the points they would have wanted here today. They've had some chances with it, they've had some fights, but it's not been enough to push them high enough where they can feel comfortable. It's all about grabbing as many
Essa é
as
aquelas
you can
trocações,
for
mano,
now.
que vocês só vão deixar ralfado colete, capa,
what
no
you can
final
get
para
done.
você mesmo fazer algo mais
Is this
efetivo,
next
vais ter que
circle?
avançar.
Are you serious?
Mano, essa é a mesma
almost happy.
safe. Essa é a mesma
almost exactly
safe.
like the
É a
previous
mesma
one, the
safe da
five
primeira
angle
zona.
times two. Are we just watching a repeat
Yeah,
of
mas
the
só que dessa
previous
vez o
game?
time Gana ele não vai vencer.
We had like
Dificilmente
50%
vencerá
water,
nessa
and now
agora.
it's turned into 50% water. Okay.
Yeah,
Things
mano,
are
porra,
going to
tá como
get-
se fosse
I think interesting would
55% ou
be a sitting word for this kind of situation.
53%
BBC and Gun,
água
they're
ali.
super happy about that one. And for once, also, Magicians are actually going to have
Endgame
to
é
move
muito
for their position, so they're
complicado.
going to be
Os 30 não
in quite a lot
aguentam.
of trouble.
Mas tu não
especially
consegues
with so many teams
jogar
in front
a
of them.
60
One team is going to be
FPS.
jumping straight to the
Ou
gun.
só rodar mesmo
That is going
30,
to
o teu
be
telefone
a
só consegue
sign of
desempenhar
they're
30.
already going to be moving on forward, trying to get themselves in a good position. And they're just going to be moving on by. Team BBC, they want nothing to do with these guys.
Tipo, se tiveres nessa zona já, mano, já vai começar a lagar bastante. Porra, vai cair.
They're in a good position to do so. Okay, they're only about one kill for now,
Everyone's
but there's still
roaming.
4 alive. And that's it, yeah. They're sending it, they're being cautious, and I
Nasa
understand why, but we're
Boy.
going to see a lot of
Mas o
teams
Nasa Boy é de qual
struggle
país,
to
mano?
find
Esse time aí
space
da
within
YNK.
this wild circle. If you're a solo player or just a couple of players left, maybe just sit in the water
Ai,
for a
achei
while,
que
you
ele
know? Just
tivesse
wait. Go for a
avistado.
little swim, cool off for a bit, and watch all the madness unfold. Because I wouldn't
Oh,
want to go into it.
Márcia, rouba a killzinha.
I think nobody would.
Só
That is,
30 mesmo.
a
Ah, porra,
treachery
é
for sure.
foda, é?
Things are going just a little bit
Só
slow now,
30.
waiting for the next wave of teams to slow up and show up into the circle. Magicians, they're going to have one player. He's there.
Eu
on his
nunca
own,
mais te vi,
Vortex,
nunca
so
mais
trying to
jogamos, não sei se estás em qual
nest for his
conta.
team to
Acho que eu
nestle
tenho
into.
adicionado você
But,
na,
he's going to
na
make his way very close to
Zenzer.
Gun also. But Team BBC here go. The
wow.
full-on crush will be happening. And what? Magicians just cruising through, not even taking a fight.
Mano, é a
They're
mesma
going straight for the fight, but they
safe
might be
essa.
straight into their deaths, because it's not just
Viu,
one
viu,
team in
viu, viu,
BBC
viu. Ah,
they're
não viu,
fighting.
pegou o cover
Erasers are
logo, é.
there as well, and they're picking up the pieces. Aimless providing more and more fire straight in with the kills, and that is Magicians down and out of it. They tried and they failed miserably. That's the only way I can put it, Max.
Ai.
I fully agree with that one. Magicians,
Oh, he's one
unfortunately, this
alive.
is what
Vortex-
happens when they have to go.
Vortex is still
Oh, there
there.
you go. There you go. He's still alive. Going to see if he can do a clutch play like we saw earlier.
Mano,
in Miramar, but
O que que ele...
regardless, that was a desperate call, a desperate play. They were like, we have no.
Parece que ele não
other
pegou
opportunities.
fuzil
We're
nem
really far away
nada,
from the
parece que ele
circle.
dropou
The best way for us
tudo.
to just give it a shot. We have no information. Let's try and go straight into the center circle in the compound. If we win the fight, we take the position. If we lose it, we die. And that was unfortunate for
Ai.
them. Three
Yeah,
players
é desse
out of
player
the
que eu
equation
tava a
already early
falar,
on. So, you
mano.
know
Não
what?
tá
Sometimes a
entendendo
little bit of a
por que
gamble
que
should
certos
happen.
players estão colocando
That is
mesmo
looking pretty
nick,
scary. Also because when we're
mano.
looking at Magicians,
So
looking for their
que?
position currently in the standings, where are they standing so far? ATL Magicians are
Yeah,
in 11th
mano,
position, so they're
porra.
looking pretty good, but because of this big L
E
they
tipo,
just took in this
quando,
fight
quando
versus
o
Team
pessoal
BBC,
tiver a ver o nick
it is
dele, vai
putting
sempre
their
compará-lo
top 16
ao
position
o
at risk.
japonês, o
making it
chinês
into their
ali.
final 4 games in the next 2 days, they could be in a position where they might get kicked down in the bottom 16 and not even make it to the
E
finals.
falta
So
o
these are
Lau,
risks that,
seu
at this
Lau,
stage,
isso é o que também
should
tem o
not
mesmo
be
nick
great
do
to go
player
for. They gave it
da
a shot and it
Influence
didn't pay off.
Rage. Bora, Dalton, confia, filho. Eita, vai cair do mar. Já é finalizado. Não, não finalizou, só conseguiu dropar, mas ainda consegue levantar. Ah, mano. Caralho, mas também foi acertar onde essa bala na smoke. Porra, também muito azar, é? Mano, o YNK conseguiu chegar safe. Incrível, é? Porra, nem vê essa rotação. Se eles rotacionaram como, mano? Pelo visto, eles rodaram full esquerda possível. Viu. Viu a perninha. Você viu, Mohamed? Deixa eu ver mais.
They've had an incredible day anyway. You can't take that away.
Agora já não, é.
I was really hoping for, you know, the triple.
Cara, eu gostei de ver essa rotação que o time YNK fez, já. Acho que eles aguardaram um pouquinho no gás para esperar que o time da YNK avançasse. O time da YNK vai pegar logo esse time aí, o time 6.
Oh, he took some full damage. I thought he was going to get knocked by that, but you know what? He makes it down. And this is a play that's okay if you knew for a fact you're
vai caindo Ramza da Fallen 5.
And sure, you're not going to be aiming for the chicken dinner here, but you will be getting some good positioning points from it all alone by just being and aiming on your survivability. So I think that overall, sending one player down there is not that bad of an idea because you are somewhat securing a minimum of points for yourself.
And that's what it's all about. Getting what you need.
Pô, Madoda, você precisa dessa kill, mano. O YNK já vai dropar no Tiger, mas já é drop. Ah, vai caindo para outros players. Ei, mano, agora também rouba. Agora só o Loops para tentar fazer a plays. Cai os players da Fallen 5.
YKI players out here. But look how heavily contested this area is. Slime, Eraser, YNK, all of them so close by.
Mano, esse time da YNK ali também vai dar trabalho pro time da... Time 9 vai fazer aquela HE. Falhou. Essa acertou, será? Agora cá o time da Yorkilla em 11º. Madoda não conseguiu ganhar kill.
One of their players gets knocked away and actually gets mollied up by one player of a Racer.
Cai o time YNK agora em 10º.
Overall, they're all again scared of the utility coming out. They got to go for the push eventually as a Racer crew. They're staying on their forward, but Team YNK can find a first opening frag for the side of Mohamed.
Mano, nesse torneio tem muitos times sul-africanos já. E é uma boa parte mesmo. Caramba, como é que essa gaia não pegou? Ok, não dá pra subir. O Nasa Boy não vai conseguir subir por ali, mano. Esquece, Nasa. Só reza pra fechar na água, Nasa, porque senão sair dali.
Poor guy. He cannot catch a break. Gun is still able to do some damage though, and he is the only player left of Gun. And just as I say that, he goes down.
Mano,
he took a shot, he got a knock, and then he gets put down himself. Riot and UNK, they're up at 5 kills for now. Only 3 players remaining, and Mohamed's on his feet.
Se o Riot for spotado, mano, já era pra ela aí. Acho que viu. Tá cozinhando. Não viu. Vai rushar logo. Welcome to the cloud, my friend.
The Molly's making sure they can't peek through the windows. This is super good usage of utility. As Riot in a position solo 1v4, this is going to be such a hard fight.
Já viu, vai no pré-fire. Já era. Caramba, mano. Foi comido por todos já. Não querem saber.
Well, he's far away from the fight. There's nothing he can do to help him out. And a Razor.
Esta zona segura, tem que fazer aquele trabalho de smoke.
Push on in from here, and they might be able to bypass some of the other teams coming into it. Slime, they still get 3 alive despite the amount of knocks there. This is really good from them. They want to challenge BBC. They push from down and then they push on into the compound and force BBC to run out the other way. Plenty of nades going out towards them. And BBC, this is where they have to be careful because they don't know the new ground they're running into. You change compound and you have to check around you. Where are the other teams lying for now? Where do they sit? What can they do against
Caramba,
you?
mano, 6 times,
They're truly
6
rushing
players.
into the unknown.
Quase
They have
essa
no
HE.
idea
Como
what
que essa
kind
HE
of
não pegou?
threats are lingering in the shadows.
Vocês têm que ver as partidas de antes de ontem. Parece que os veículos estavam bugados. Os veículos não estavam a atropelar ninguém. Por exemplo, teve um player que estava a fazer a rotação em Sunnock, mano. Foi o quê? Foi o Syphon. Passou por cima de um player, não foi atropelado. Depois foi um bug que estava a ser dirigido pelo Mohamed e passou por cima do mestre. O mestre não foi nocado. Ah, é Miramar essa.
We'll see if Slime can make it happen. As here you go, aimless. Going for the shots, but Storm coming into the kill feed once again. That feels good.
O time da YNK já foi do lobby, acho que o NASA já foi que foi o NASA mesmo.
Viu. Oh, Implus, you stood there too long. I know you wanted the kills, but it's the BBC. They are watching you. All eyes on
vai ter que se
you,
movimentar logo.
Now the revive, it is possible, but they got to be careful. Nihao, he's looking for it.
Nia só tá como? Tirando foto. Meu Deus! Aí trollou, é. Mano, dificilmente assim fechará pra ali. Tu que já cai. Viu, quase.
And they get 9 kills out of absolutely nowhere. The circle moves once again right in the palm of the hands of Alpha Pack. They are waiting, and here you're looking at the side of Slime. They've got to make it through that entire open field. That is such a hard rotation for Slime.
Mano, será que a Alpha Pack fará dobradinha? Foi a Alpha Pack que venceu no mapa de Miramar. Tipo, eles não estão a pegar muito as kills, estás a ver? Mas estão a fazer uma partida consistente, tipo, mantendo sempre um top 5.
They're going to have to be taking more fights towards them from every single side. They will have teams on their left, right, and straight in front of them. And that's where they have to be very careful from
Stormy,
here. Eraser, they jumped on down. You sly guys. Look where they've put themselves.
That's safe.
This is either like a really positive or really negative. When I see this, I usually see it where it's like one player does it and the rest stay up and still fight for it, because you're going to limit yourself on the kills you'll be able to grab, but you may be able to just sit in the zone and camp your way to success potentially. Storm, though, sneaky snaking his way on forward. They're going to have shots fired back out towards them. And AP, they're doing a lot of damage. Yumi pops
Mas já estava alguém atento já para fazer a trade. Essa HE. Ah, não. Tá distante
and it's going to at least push AP back a little bit, but they've got the perfect cover behind the rocks. Finaliza wants to come in and try and finish some of them off. The spread out continue to go further forward, and I think that's only Storm alive now.
Yeah. It's going to be just Storm.
Mano,
close off this game and make up for that Miramar
esse Abel dropou como? Tipo, só mirou, estás a ver? E já dropou. Não sei se ele estava com pouco HP já, o player do time C. Do Yumi. Só a ele, mano. Mano, será que o time C é um esquadrão de meninas?
And they were able to get so dangerously close to, they might be able to just barely steal away this game.
Yumi, Kira.
Barely get back up on his feet by Ellie. They're going to be there as a two-man squad, hopefully, with still 6 kills coming their way. Really, I got to say that C Esports in these last 3 games have really come together as a team with some really good shot calling in general. The
agora vai bater pro time C. O time C vai ter que se movimentar. A vantagem do time é a Felian Pex.
And this is where I'm so confused for Eraser.
Conectou o spray, o guys agora vai dar dano.
Storm is sneaky snaking it as far as possible.
Complicou, ele já era. Yumi vai ter que fazer a play. Ai, mano, essa safe é troll, não pode... Caiu.
They're all playing the long game right now. You may think
Ela só tem uma bandagem, mano.
Yumi doesn't have much
mais uma
health.
bandagemzinha.
Up as much as possible, and it's all about staying alive. A lot of nades have probably been used, but it's a Razor. They're trying to get AP out of there. Abel gets knocked down. There could be a timing.
Storm ainda tá vivo.
To push on forward. They've had 11
Mano, Storm ainda pode fazer a play, é só esperar que eles se matem. Ele ainda tem um kit.
He's now made some noise himself, though.
Storm ainda pode fazer a play, mano. Sinceramente, olha a vantagem que ele tem. O high ground, todo mundo desceu. GG pro Storm, mano.
And Storm, this could be your time. He doesn't know about it just yet. He's being cautious. Eraser able to cause an absolute nuisance here for AP.
The circle's going to go dead center. It's going to go back to the mainland, to the high ground.
Vai fechar agora.
He just has to stay here and make sure the
Pois
He's,
é, ele
he's
só tem que
actually stealing
esperar
this game away.
simplesmente,
One-man
mano.
team army, despite all his team
Tentar
getting
rodar mais
eliminated in the
kit.
open grounds. He might be able to, he's literally, the only thing Storm has to do
Big
is not
brain.
move. If he does not move, he takes the win. But Yumi's got a perfect off angle onto a racer crew. This is huge for C Esports.
O Guy vai comer primeiro a Yumi. A Yumi tem que se movimentar no mínimo.
For C. Yumi, he jumps out into it. He takes the
Caralho,
shot.
Yes,
ainda conseguiu dropar mais um.
Yumi has health, but he needs to be careful of the blue. He's also being shot at, and the razors will eventually finish him off. A Storm, he's sitting pretty, and he seems to want to still take some of these fights. He wants to find some ground and get some additional kills. He spots Ryan's down at the bottom. He's taking some shots. He's putting them all into it. Storm, you absolute madman.
Mano, é GG, já era.
Down as well. 14 kills, make that 15, and Storm is an absolute genius of how he's played this out.
Venceu essa.
I have no words. I have no words. This is the biggest breakthrough I've ever seen. He just stole that game like an absolute mad lad. And there's nothing he can do because the circles come in his favor. They're gonna die to the blue zone. He just has to chill. He can literally just put his phone to the side on his bed and relax. But you know what? He wants an extra kill to look extra
Eles
cool.
deviam botar para a câmera do que? Do play adversário. Ele tem 2 kits ainda. Ficou bastante machucado agora. GG, mano. GG. Não tinha como.
16 kills and a win.
Caralho, mano, ele só aproveitou, yeah? Só fez a boa.
Screaming and cheering right now watching this because that was absolutely big brain.
Boa play pro time da 4KT, yeah?
Pat on the back because your team needed some points and you grabbed them all.
We were a little bit like scared for him. He was almost able to clutch a game on Miramar.
Nossos rapazes ali, qual posição eles pegaram?
That is one hell of a storyline coming
on through from
pegou
a 10ª posição, uma killzinha do
This guy is
YNK.
legendary when it comes down to African PMCO. And coming into it, I just believe, I truly believe that the race crew just
eu que ele até vai pontuar bastante,
like,
tipo,
we're just gonna take that
quase
fight,
6 kills, aliás 6 pontos.
They're like, wait a second, there's still someone up there. And that was the side of Slime with Storm just
Eu não sei o time BOPE se conseguiu ainda pegar alguma kill.
So unfortunately, it just seems like Eraser Crew forgot about him and allowed them to take
Pegou
that win.
apenas uma kill, parte da Márcia.
Really good
Deixa eu ver a classificação geral.
The entire game until the finishing moments. And Alpha Pack 2, they took a chicken dinner and then a top 3 position was an extra 5 kills. That is also a big step up from this team. So overall, I'm super happy to see all these teams definitely showing up to the occasion. But once more, you just have to say, Storm, I'm sure our producer was looking at my face during my casting of that last session. I was in awe. I did not know what to say. That was, he just stole it. I don't know. I'm just going to stop speaking because I'm just rambling about how insane that was.
Max, that is impressive. Oh my God, Slime got 6th place off the back of that. That's why it was so huge. They went from, what was it, 15th to 6th. Oh my God, and they've now got 89. We said that's like the safe number. We spoke about this from so long saying they
o time da 4KT também subiu bastante, yeah? Time YNK mantém top 10, tá bom.
What is going on? Oh, this is impressive, mate.
Not only that, C Esports. I'm going to actually check real quick where they were at the start.
Acho que o time da AOK subiu para top 20, creio eu. Deixa lá ver a última tabela.
C Esports before today were actually standing in 17th position. And now they climbed up. They're currently in 9th position. So, and they'll get really close to that, like around 85-point bubble that I did mention. That is 100% sure going to be you basically qualifying for the finals. And they're almost there. They just need an extra 8 points and they should be making it up to that position to be somewhat safe. Same for Yonku's also. So many big shifts. And also Eraser Crew, that game alone allowed them to just springbolt themselves up in top 16, currently 14th position, was a juicy amount of point at that also. And Alpha Pack 2, they took a win and a top 3 back-to-back. That is another big show from these teams. And in this final game, we were expecting that, and you brought that up like perfectly well. You hit the nail on the head here, Banks, saying that we were going to have so many big changes after these 4 games today. And that's exactly what happened. So many teams that we thought initially were struggling just risen up to the occasion and made it now into the top 16. But it's not over just yet. You still got 4 games for all of these teams to play. But still, it is still a really good impression. And overall, it shows that they have the potential to make into the finals and fight for themselves.
And when we're talking about that, right, the final 2 days now get so much more interesting because, okay, top 4, you've pretty much made it. I'm almost guaranteed. Obviously, the changing in positions can certainly happen. There's still a big fight for everyone else on how this could go down because it's very close. If you think of 60 to 60 to 80 points, right? That's still all in contention of how up and down this can be. If we go on to page 2, we'll see how close the rest of them are going to be as well. And that's it. Look, so realistically, I would say if you're at 50 right now, you still have a great chance of it. And even BBC, they jumped up a fair amount of that game. And we were very impressed with what they delivered, especially on this last Erangel game.
But we've seen teams do 50 points in one day. It is really possible. So even if you're
E que levantou a mesma posição, o time BOPE subiu uma. Bem, praticamente é essa. Bem, rapaziada, vou ter que encerrar aqui, mano. Muito obrigado a todo mundo que acompanhou durante esse tempo todo, que a gente estava aqui a assistir, torcendo, encarando também a gameplay deles. Provavelmente a gente voltará amanhã na mesma energia, a mesma disponibilidade. Portanto, fiquem bem. Feliz noite, que Deus vos abençoe. E estamos juntos, é nóis. E um abraço do Zera. Falou.
But it's still going to be stressed out because at the end, it is an esports tournament and not every team is going to make it out. After the next 2 days, 50% of the teams are going to go out. 16 teams, that is, are going to be having to go back home. Well, they're already going to be at home because they're playing online, but regardless, back to their room, I guess we'll say back to their room. And they'll come back for the next season, hopefully. I'd love to see a lot of these teams because I think that everyone, if you made it in PMCO, that alone is a big achievement because you got thousands upon thousands of teams signing up for these kind of